Why can't you guys see me? Oh. Hello. I'm Manakyn. Welcome to the stream. How's everyone doing today? Hello, Bowser Jr. Hello, Sad Goddamn. You guys been playing Power World. Awesome. I wanted to play Power World today, but I also have to wake up very early tomorrow to drive home. I'm driving back to LA from San Diego. It's not that far, to be honest, but truthfully, you know, like, I just want to wake up early so that I can avoid traffic. So I might be not streaming as late, and I had to start a little bit later because I woke up really late. I was up really late. I was up till like 4 a.m. cleaning last night. And it's awful because, like, when you clean, you are so freaking excited. You're like, oh my god, I'm going to clean. Everything's going to be clean. And, like, you spend like 8 hours cleaning and everything's just even messier. You realize how difficult it is to clean. Cleaning is a freaking life-changing experience. Because as you're cleaning, what you're doing is you're actually reorganizing your world and you're trying to figure out what you can do with, like, your space. So it's like, yeah, I need to clean. Yeah. But hey, how's it going, guys? Yeah, Power World. I really wanted to play Power World. I wanted to show you the new prison labor facility that I built in my house. But yeah, remember the base I built yesterday? Or not yesterday, but the last stream. I had to redo it because it just wasn't working. Like, the pals weren't going to the hexalite quartz. So yeah, I had to completely redo it, restructure it in order to get it to work, and I had to move it somewhere else. So I moved it to the original place that I planned on building it, but so now it kind of works. Once again, I wish we could automate hexalite quartz and chromite, but for now, I'm not going to. So my goal in Power World, just to discuss it before we actually get started on the stream, my goal in Power World is to build my Amazon factory, which essentially looks like a prison. It's just a bunch of metal with barbed wire around it. And yeah, it's I have a what is it? Cleanliness is next to mindfulness. Isn't cleanliness is next to godliness? Or is it mindfulness? Wait, is it only in rain code when they said godliness? I remember Shinigami in chapter 2 when you are cross-dressing. This is gonna make no sense if you guys haven't played rain code. But like, wait, you're cross-dressing and you're breaking into the girls' locker. Wait, no. This really makes no sense if you have never played Rain Code. Okay, but you're cross-dressing and you're you're breaking in to the girls' locker room, and then Shinigami, your imaginary friend, looks at the mirror and says, "I'm grooming my tail. Cleanliness is next to godliness." So is it godliness or is it mindfulness? I don't know. Regardless. Disney would be proud. Okay, so let's talk about today's stream. So I'm trying something new. It's going to be very reactionary. We're mostly just going to be looking at videos, watching trailers. I'm going to try not to watch other people's content, but, you know, the big names who are really, let's say, really, like a big name of, like, the gaming critique community, people like Asmongold or Moist Critical. I have said I didn't like them in the past, but at the same time, I can acknowledge that they had their insights, at least how they interact with their viewers, have some value. So I might bring up some of their streams or their videos to see why they think the things they do, and then critique maybe if that is correct. Because, you know, the one thing about many of these critique people, Asmongold, Moist Critical, there's this one VTuber dude who hides behind a VTuber avatar, like a girl with black pigtails. I don't remember something dis. I don't remember that person's name, but it's like a dude who hides behind like a girl's. Rev says this. Yes. You have some of those guys. You have I know one of the people, like we're gonna bring up some of them, and I know that they have very extreme opinions. They're not, you know, kind of I don't hate the word grounded, but they're not kind of necessarily involved directly in the gaming industry. And one thing, hey, how's it going, Ire? What did you walk into? We're trying out something new, which is I actually have decided instead of, you know, trying to be so polite and politically correct, I want to see if you guys, you know, can appreciate my insights into certain things, because a lot of the people who are making comments, they're not necessarily directly involved in the video game industry. They're not necessarily directly involved in storytelling. And I have said this many times. It's my responsibility as a voice actor to understand why the viewers think the same things they do or like the things they like, not the other way around. I do not believe it should be the viewers making better critiques or something like that. Because the normal man, like people like I think one thing that one of the reasons why, you know, the streamer Asmongold has gotten so popular is he represents the normal man. The way he critiques things, from what I've seen, is very normal. I'm right. I'm with you all the way. I appreciate that, because to tell you the truth, I'm a little bit nervous about this stream. But, you know, I asked you guys about this. And, you know, the way Asmongold, he critiques people is very like, I'm a normal person, and I'm going to say what I think, and I'm not going to overanalyze it. It's my job to analyze it. As the actor, as the writer, as the producer, it's my job to analyze it and understand why he says that. Just your everyday average Joe. Exactly. Except his name is... I don't even know his name. Gold. Wasn't it Nux trying to go after Rev, and Rev responded, you did keep up with that. I'm going to try to avoid the person-to-person drama. We're going to look at their opinions, but we're going... Mr. Gold. We're going to look at their opinions, but we're going to try not to go too far into, like, their interactions. I hate you, I diss you, or something like that. So I appreciate you guys letting me know that. But so I will try to avoid that. He does take a more down-to-earth opinion. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, I don't know too much about him. As I've said, I've never particularly liked him because he is very, let's just put it this way. I'm a person who doesn't like cursing, and he curses a lot. That's pretty much the summary as to why I don't like him. That's not necessarily anything against him. It's just, it's not something that I particularly that's not really my style. So that being said, the reason why I'm doing this stream, you must hate 99% of, to be honest, kinda. You know, I've always believed in like a level of quality, but I also acknowledge that the level of quality comes with corporatism, right? The reason why we can censor cursing in normal television is because the corporation controls it. So I understand the way I approach the internet is a bit of an oxymoron. You don't curse. I think that's good. What's wrong with F-bombs? Nothing. Okay, so actually, before I address this, let me make sure I explain myself, right? Because a lot of the things I say have a lot of nuance to them. What's wrong with F-bombs? Functionally nothing. Why is my head so shiny? Hold on a second. This is more important than addressing controversy. Brightness. Let me turn down the brightness a little bit. That's better. Okay. My... Ooh, blinding lights! Okay, so, there's nothing particularly wrong with F-bombs. I think it's more like this. When you curse, it's generally a substitution, right? And you guys know I use the word frickin' a lot, to an extent, right? And it's a very extreme substitution. So when you say something like, that's fucking lame. Oh, how fucking lame is that? Or something like that, right? Man, my go-to is the word lame. I'm such a boomer. When you say that, right? Essentially, you're trying to display some sort of extremity. That's essentially what an F-bomb is, right? It's essentially saying like, oh, I'm displaying a vulgar extremity. And I think, while I think that's okay to do it, but I also think that it's more productive to come up with ways that can, you know, express your ideas more in more detail, if that makes sense. You curse a bit, but you try to keep the minimum. I do appreciate that, by the way. And I don't mind a little bit of cursing. Like, you guys hear me curse sometimes. I don't mind a little bit of cursing. I just think it's more productive to try to do something else. But I also... I also like I also said, right? The reason why, you know, someone like Asmongold is so popular, he curses a lot. But what does he do when he curses a lot? He's essentially representing the normal person, right? That's why cursing works for him, right? But for me, I'm trying to acknowledge, hey, you know, I'm not a normal person. I'm a person who knows the gaming industry reasonably well. I know the kind of the in and outs. I know the ideas in the writing and the style that people do. So I'm going to try to be a little bit more detailed. It's my job to take his cursing and interpret that into something that can be applicable to the actual industry, if that makes sense. So I don't have a problem with cursing. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't mind cursing when it's more rare, like in Resident Evil. When, you know, like when Leon goes, "No thanks, bro." Oh, man, that was harsh, man. No, but anyway, this is not a stream about me cursing. This is a stream about understanding and reacting and trying to figure out what people are saying. And I'm trying to be a little bit more daring in my style, in order to, you know, really talk about some of these things. Now, why exactly did I do this stream? Well, first of all, I asked you guys, and many of you guys said, yeah, let's do it. Second of all, when I did my last catching up on video games stream, I kind of addressed a little bit about the writing style of The Witcher 4 and how I didn't really like the trailer and so on. And somebody said, oh, you didn't watch the Intergalactic? Is it Intergalactic or Interstellar? I think it was Intergalactic. We'll find out in like 5 minutes. But like, yeah, somebody said I didn't watch the Intergalactic trailer. And so the reason why I didn't watch it wasn't because I didn't want to not watch it. It's just, you know, I didn't really register on my radar. It just looked like a normal PlayStation game. Like, you know, The Witcher 4, and there was some like anime GTA. It's like those things looked interesting to me. The Intergalactic one, just the thumbnail didn't look particularly interesting, so I just skipped by that one. Yeah, some people had told me that they wanted to hear my insights on this game because, you know, especially when it came to something like The Witcher, the way I broke down The Witcher wasn't just Cersei. Was it Cersei, or I think it was Cersei. I think I called her Cece last time. Cersei was ugly. I didn't really look at her much in like a physical appearance and attractiveness. I really looked more into things like, you know, how they wrote the story and why the story didn't really fail as a trailer. The Witcher does break the lore. You know, I did say I want to play The Witcher 3. After watching The Witcher 4 trailer and then going back and watching The Witcher 3 trailer, it made me realize, you know, I should play The Witcher 3. Maybe I should play The Witcher 3. So if The Witcher 4 trailer did something right, it made me want to play The Witcher 3. But yeah, so people wanted to get some of my insights on story writing and stuff like that. They did change her model to make her less attractive. I mean, I don't know too much about... I don't know who the character is. I just know her name. They didn't consult the original author. Right. Okay, that is a book. So that is a thing. But, you know, I wasn't really paying attention to all that. I was kind of paying attention to it on like a storyboarding perspective. How the storyboarding failed and how the trailer itself was a failure rather than, you know, the story of the video game. In fact, now that I know a little bit more about The Witcher, let me tell you, in fact, let's just pull this up. Let me just pull up a picture of, is it Cersei or is it Cece? I know she's like Geralt's child, like, or not a child, but like adopted daughter maybe. Let's pull it up. YouTube, Witcher 4. I just want to pull up the trailer so that we have like a trailer. Siri. It's like Siri. Okay. Hold on. Let's pull up a picture of her. There we go. There. Okay. Give me a moment. Okay. As you guys can tell, I'm not used to doing reaction content, so it takes me a while to pull up stuff. Oh my god. Currently, my Chrome window capture is on Bernie's character demo. Bernice. A little flame. Okay, so here we have a picture of Cersei, and I don't like that, to be honest. It's fine, whatever. Okay, time for Steam Deck, maybe. Well, you're in luck. All I do is react to corporations screw up and losing money because you're kind of an expert. Well, I want to approach it like this, right? So here's the picture of Cersei, and you want to say she looks ugly. I kind of get that. I don't think she looks ugly. I think she looks 40. Wait, now that I say that out loud, that sounds horrible. I didn't mean it like that. No, I don't know how old she's supposed to be. People want extremely attractive characters. There's actually a reason for that, and that's not entirely correct. And I'm gonna go into that. Old woman. No, but she looks like she's like in her 35, 40. Like she looks older. So if I saw a woman who looks like this, and let's remove her scowling face for a second, let's just look at her, I would say, oh, she was probably pretty when she was younger. Like, so to me, like, I don't necessarily think they made her look uglier. I think they made her look older, which is, okay, you know, depending on who you ask, you could say that's the same thing, but I don't think it's the same thing. I think, you know, there's actually a legitimate difference there. Like she looks like, you know, like someone who was like, maybe she was like a knockout in her 20s or something like that. So I don't necessarily think she looks ugly. And this is also coming from someone who doesn't really know The Witcher. And as I said, we should always appeal to people who don't really know. They made her uglier by making her look older. You said it. I didn't say anything. I did not say it. She just isn't video game hot. And you know, there are plenty of characters that aren't particularly overly attractive, but they're still, you know, fun to play. Like, I mean, we'll go into details for this, but you know, let's not discuss this, right? Okay, let's actually discuss a little bit about the lore part, because Sad Godtail mentioned that. I'm going to turn on some funky music. Sad Godtail mentioned that they break the lore by allowing her to be a witcher. And from what I understand, the reason why the reason why it breaks the lore that she's a witcher is because it was established that in order to become a witcher, you have to take a test that's so grueling and so difficult that women literally just die. Is that right? Is that along the lines? I noticed the moment I started talking about this, my viewer count went way down, and none of you actually left. I still see you all in the chat, but the viewer count went way down, which tells me it might be that when I talk about, let's just say, naughty topics, topics that YouTube doesn't like, YouTube might artificially decrease my viewer count just to tell me to do something else. I don't know. Anyway, the main point of the character was about 100 years old. Most of them live to be really old, which is due to the Witcher process. Okay. Yeah, but this is, okay, so this is what I understand. The Witcher trial, in order to become a Witcher, it's so difficult and so grueling that women just die. And like, even like a very, very, very small subset of men will actually be able to survive it. And in order to in order to pass it, you have to be super, 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 super good. Which is why Geralt and his buddy were able to pass it, but literally everyone else dies or something like that. It's like something along those lines, right? It's like it's virtually impossible for a woman to even respond to it. In the same way that it's virtually impossible for women to ever lift a weight beyond a certain limit. That's just how it is, right? With that knowledge, let me write the story for The Witcher, and let me take this character and show you that there could be a really interesting way to write a female character like this, okay, in this universe, right? I'm just taking just the basic premise. The trial to become the master, okay, I'm not even gonna say Witcher, just master. He's some sort of master of something, and this title carries prestige and honor, okay? I don't know, I think some people don't like The Witcher in the world, but like Witcher carries some level of prestige and honor because you're helping the people kill the monsters. So Geralt passed the trial because, you know, he worked very hard, and then he eventually became the Witcher, and he moved around trying to save the world from monsters. Okay. And then now he has this adopted daughter named Cersei, or Ciri. I keep saying Cersei. And why am I saying Cersei? That's a Greek thing. But Ciri. And Ciri is a Witcher, right? So let me write the story for you guys. And if any devs are listening, if any devs from CD Projekt Red are listening, you can use this story absolutely copyright free. All you have to do is say, inspired by the unhinged rants of Manakyn. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. You saw videos of YouTube AI falsely striking sexual content. Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, it's trash, but that's just how our corporate overlords are nowadays. Okay, so anyway, CG Projekt Red, if you're here, if you're listening to me, okay, all you have to do is say, story inspired by the musings of the unhinged rantings of Manakyn, the most boomer stream on YouTube. Most boomer streamer on YouTube. All right, this is how you write the story of Ciri. Ciri, you start the video game, and Ciri is, hey, how's it going, banana monkeys? And Ciri is a witcher. We're gonna hear me out. Okay, she's a witcher, and everyone calls her a witcher. And she, at the beginning of the story, she's going around, she's killing the monsters or something like that. She's helping the people, and she's working hard to save the people, right? Sad Godtail, give me a second. Your comment will become very relevant soon. Okay, Ciri's going around saving the people. I don't know what crisis. The actual crisis doesn't care. It doesn't really matter, right? She's going around helping save the people, right? And people are all talking behind her back, right? And they're saying things like, oh my god, it's crazy that anyone thinks a woman could actually become a witcher, right? They're being very clearly misogynistic to her, right? Oh, there's no way she could have actually passed the Witcher test, the Witcher trials. There's no way a woman could have done that, right? So that's the beginning of the story. About halfway to 2/3 of the way into the video game, maybe like about halfway into the storyline, it's revealed in the flashback, in some sort of flashback, that she actually didn't pass the Witcher trials. And that's the hinge. That's the hinge on which the story will work, right? She's claiming to be a Witcher, and everyone is saying there's no chance that a woman could have passed those trials. And it turns out all those people are right. And now we have a really interesting character, because she is living not with the burden of other people's misogyny, but the burden of her own failure. And now we have an interesting story, because the question is, can Ciri overcome the fact that she failed to become a witcher or whatever it is in order to, but it doesn't change the fact that she's still going around and helping people, right? Now that is an interesting story, right? So, Sad Godtail, you actually said it's crazy that Ciri didn't even need to be, exactly. And that's the hinge in which this story might exist upon, right? I think, and once again, this is coming from a very outsider perspective. I'm putting together a story in like 5 minutes, right? Ciri is a witcher in name, in the same way that some people in Japan are samurai in name, or like maybe in like England, people are knights in name, but they don't actually fight or anything. She's a witcher, but in name, right? And so like people are like, there's no chance that this woman was actually a witcher, and turns out they're right. And now she has to deal with that. And I don't know, maybe in the flashback she attempted to and she nearly died, and then someone saved her. Or like, I don't know, maybe Geralt, since he was able to do the trials, maybe he followed Ciri in and saved her from the trials or something along those lines. I don't know. Whatever makes the lore work. But you know, she tried and she failed so badly that she nearly died. And you know, she has to live with that. And so depending on how the story finishes, and that's all we really need to make a really interesting story. Because once we get to the very end, right, and she, you know, saves the day against some big monster, right? She did it, and people acknowledge her. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I guess she really is a witcher, even though she knows she isn't, right? And then maybe in the end credit scene, like at the very end, like the epilogue, will be her going back into the trials and trying again. And I think that would be just 3 simple points would make for a freaking great story, right? And I don't even care if she actually succeeds the second time, right? Maybe at the very end they can show she's coming out and she did it, she's a witcher, but you don't even have to do that, right? All you literally have to do is hinge the story on a conflict that the character has. And it's a very simple conflict, right? Let her be a witcher in name, but have her live with the fact that she's not actually a witcher, and done. We have a really interesting story. So the question here is whether or not they can actually do that, right? I think people try so hard to, you agree? Okay, well, I'm glad you agree because, you know, you're the person who's more familiar with the Witcher story. So, you know, it's reasonable, you know, I'm trying to follow the lore as much as I can. But, you know, I think people try so hard to be, to make sure people feel good. Like in this case, oh, well, girls can do whatever guys can do, right? I'm not going to call it like, you know, political agenda, because at the end of the day, it's really just like people say, you know, it's essentially participation trophies. People are giving out participation trophies. It's like, oh, a woman can do whatever a man can. See, you're a woman, you get to be a witcher too. It's that type of thing, right? People are so desiring to do good, or like not to do good, to make people happy and please people, that they miss opportunities to tell really good stories. And I think if they just don't make her a witcher and just make her a witcher in everything but actual title, like she's like functionally she's a witcher in every way except for the fact that she wasn't able to beat the test, right? And then she has to deal with the fact is like, and does the title actually matter? Or does what do my actions matter? And that's like that's a real question that isn't stuck in modern politics. It isn't stuck in some sort of like abstract conceptualization. Well, it is an abstract concept. It isn't stuck in something like overly stuck to an idea, right? That idea works in just about everything. What matters more, the actions or what people think of me? Right? That is a question that people have tackled since the beginning of time. And that is I think that could be a fantastic premise if they just wanted to, you know, take this idea and say, she's a witcher, but she's not really a witcher because she couldn't pass the trial. And, well, haha, you suck because you're a woman, but she still saves the day in the end. I feel like anyone with love of the game and a serious passion can come up with a better game story. I mean, even you have already talked about a better narrative. Yeah, and I think, you know, if somebody who actually knew The Witcher really, really well, or even half well, they can easily take, you know, my idea or a similar idea. It doesn't have to be my idea, but like I said, CD Projekt Red just put me in the credits. But if they just took that and they kind of just fit the lore around it, it's like, okay, so how does Geralt save her from the trial? I don't know. We'll find a lore reason for that. And like, what are the monsters that she's fighting and why can she defeat them? Maybe we'll find a reason for that. And do you know what would be even great? Okay, and this has longevity. Because in The Witcher 5, when The Witcher 5 comes out, and I don't know, it's is this Poland or something like that? Medieval Poland or something? And then we have the new Witcher. Maybe this one takes place 150 years after The Witcher 4. You can have some little sprinkles about rumors that there was only ever one woman who actually completed the trials. Or something like that after, you know, the end of my story where she walks back into the Witcher room to do her Witcher trials, something like that. And you can have like a rumor that, oh, there was only ever one woman, and then maybe someone's like, nah, that's not true. There's no way a woman can do that. And the answer to that is you don't actually know the answer to that, right? You don't ever have to answer a question for the question to be good, right? It's like to that extent, I think people are so stuck on getting answers, like solid answers to their questions. Like, can a woman be just as good as a man? It's like, oh, and the answer is yes! It's like, you don't have to answer that question, right? I think, you know, many of the best questions out there don't have answers. And the point of the story is to attempt to understand those questions, not to answer them, right? Every single good story out there asks a question and never gives a full answer to it. It kind of just explores what the answer is. So that's just my 2 cents on The Witcher 4, having understood a little bit more on this. And like I said, I think the trailer failed narratively. Whether or not it failed, like story-wise, I really don't care. The only problem is that it's retconning, and gamers hate when established war is changed. No, absolutely, right? That's what I think you're talking about, the thing in The Witcher 5, right? So at the end, she goes back and tries again, and we don't actually know what happens after that. And then after that, 150 years later or something, they're like, oh, did you hear there was once a woman who completed the Witcher trials? It was the only one. And then he's like, nah, that's no way. That's just a stupid rumor or something like that. It's not actually answered, right? So it's not that's one of the cool things that I think a lot of writers should take advantage of a little bit more, is actually, not one thing you could do is use like seeds of ideas, like rumors, stories, folklore, and things like that. And that adds flavor to the world without changing how the world works, right? Because it becomes more like, that's just, people talk, right? People talk, rumors spread, ideas spread. Folklore does go hard. It does. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of developers, or let's not say developers, story writers don't take advantage of nowadays. It's because they can, if you use that, if you use this kind of this type of story writing, you'd never get an actual answer to things. And I think the developers try really hard to, want to please the people. Oh, here's the answer to your question. And that's not what stories are about. So I think that is, if the developers really wanted to insert this idea that Ciri did indeed complete the Witcher trials and she was the legendary female Witcher or something like that, they should do that 150 years in the future with folklore, right? They don't actually need to rewrite anything, right? They don't need to change anything. They just have to have rumors or ideas, right? And gamers love that crap. It's like, you freaking eat that up. Every time there's like a freaking reference to an old console in one of my Pokemon games, I'm like, oh my god, that's a GameCube. Or like, it's... Or like whenever there's like a, or whenever like, there was like, did you hear? That man was stabbed 28 times. There's like, 28 stab wounds! Yeah, so gamers eat that up. It's like you don't have to try so hard to, you know, give people definitive answers. And I think that's one of the big problems when it came to the Witcher story. Once again, I only know the Witcher story from my very, very simple research. I'm going to play The Witcher 3, hopefully on stream, once I sub in my 4090! But yeah, I'm gonna play the Witcher once I clean up my my desktop so I can plug in my my GPU. But yeah, because and the reason is I wanted to put that in because apparently the Witcher, they added like a super graphical update or something like that, which I want to play it with the top quality graphics. Yeah, Darkrai is your favorite Pokemon, and the lore behind him is extremely messed up. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Why don't I hire a maid? Only if the maid is part dragon and actually like a shape shifted into a woman. Because, I mean, what anime reference? Anyway, I'll take a maid if it's Luqua. Dragon mommies are the best. They are the best. Anyway, so here we are talking about frickin' Cersei. Wait, is it Luqua? It is Luqua. Adopt Kanna. Yeah, anyway, what was I saying? Give me a moment. Oh, right. So what we're here for is we're actually here to look at a different trailer, which is Intergalactic. Sorry. Okay, Intergalactic. The heretical prophet. Interstellar is an old movie. That's why I'm confusing too. That's why. You know, once again, I also have to remember that, you know, this is my first time I'm really just having my screen up or my YouTube or my you know, web browser up, which is why I'm being very careful not to accidentally, you know, open up my homework folder. But what? I mean, Mana, was that sip a part of the joke? What? Was that slip? You mean like when I looked up Luqua? You mean oh frick, this is actually kind of spicy. But anyway, what sip? My drink. You mean this? It's iced tea. Oh yeah, speaking of which, I'm not drinking soda, I'm drinking iced tea. So yeah. PewDiePie's streaming right now. Why am I subbed to PewDiePie? Oh right, because of the sub to PewDiePie meme. Sorry, I'm not good at this format. I am doing my best right now to try to understand, you know, I'm trying to understand all this stuff. Hey, how's it going, Kioma? Welcome. You came right as we finished talking about how to write The Witcher's thing. I'm doing great, thank you. All right, so here we go with the Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet. You'll see when I watch the trailer. Okay, actually, you know what? Before we even get into this trailer, I want to tell you a few things, right? So, I think it was John Doe. You said something along the lines of, you know, gamers want attractive characters. right? And let's address that really quickly. It's not exactly gamers want attractive characters. I think it's slight. It's the same idea, but it's slightly different, right? I think attractive characters. I think if you went 20 years back, gamers might have been a little bit more accepting of attractive characters. Let's be real here. Let's be real here. Lara Croft used to look like this. Okay. So, what exactly when it comes to attractiveness, right? You know, Lara Croft used to look like this. That's actually really funny. Anyway, right. So when we talk about attractive characters, it means a little bit more than just attractive characters. I mean, I have heard many females. Exactly. Okay, so let's actually talk about that. So what does it mean for an attractive character, right? So attractiveness means something, right? Attractiveness means something in the real world. And oh wait, this is something that I haven't really talked about before. When it comes to writing fantasy, there's two aspects to fantasy: fantasy and reality, right? Fantasy is like, you know, all the magical things that you can do in the world that you can get away with that has nothing to do with our world. And then there's reality, which are all the subconscious things that you can't really get rid of. Like, for example, people have 2 arms, right? You can always maybe write a race of people that have 4 arms, but generally the main character will have 2 arms. Why? Because subconsciously that makes sense to us. So when we talk about writing a fantasy, there's 2 aspects. There's the fantasy aspect of it, and then there's the reality aspect of it. And a kind of a rule that you can use if you're a writer, which is maybe not the greatest, maybe it's not a perfect rule, but it's a rule that works like 99% of the time, is that fantasy applies to verbs and reality applies to nouns. So things that are stagnant and exist and are stationary and don't change over time, those are the things that need to be grounded in reality. I hate the word grounded, but I hope you guys understand. And meanwhile, verbs, the things of actions of doing, those are the things that are fantasy. So I'll give you a very great example of this. Let's say, and this will apply to the character, right? Let's pull up the character on the screen. See if we can find her. Oh boy. Wait. Okay, I understand. Okay, so let's look at her hair. Let's look at her hair, right? Her hair is shaved, right? From what I understand, she's some sort of warrior person, right? So when she shaves her head, right? That hairstyle, right? It's a hairstyle. It probably won't change unless they're gonna very actively make it change over time, right? So it means something, and it means something in reality. And no matter how much you try to justify it in fantasy, subconsciously it will jump back to reality. So for me, when she shaves her head, essentially it tells me she's super, super, super practical. She shaves her head because she doesn't want to get it caught in a tree, right? So that's the reality element of it. Now, the fantasy element of it is the word getting, or the phrase getting caught in a tree, because that's a verb. When something gets caught in a tree, it's an action, which means as a fantasy person, as a video game designer, you can make long hair not get caught in a tree for the sake of it not getting caught in a tree. And that's a fantasy element that gamers and viewers are able to disregard. It's like, oh, shouldn't it get caught in the tree? Well, no, because it's a fantasy world. Hair isn't practical for getting your head warm and safe from the sun. You know what, Arcade? I am so glad we have our freaking devil's freaking advocate back here. Thank you. That or she identifies as they them. You know what? Fair enough. I'm trying to be, you know, very straightforward in this. But yeah, so that's kind of what it tells me, right? They might say, oh, it's practical, right? But if the practicality is in verb form, then when it comes to verb form of things, you can give those things fantasy, right? But you also have to deal with the fact that there is some sort of perception and reality as what this bald head means. For example, John, you actually nailed that. It might also mean she thinks a certain way or she acts a certain way that exists in how we view things in the real world, right? So, yeah. Anyway, so that's how I want you guys to, think of it. I'm glad, I think Sad Godtail, you said that. Can we not look at her? Okay. Let's go back to the beginning. So would you want my characters looking like this? Okay, so that's a really interesting question. The answer to that is I don't know. And we're going to watch the trailer and find out. Okay. But anyway, for all you writers out there, just take this into consideration, right? Fantasy is verbs and reality is stagnant nouns. So when you're trying to think of a fantasy world, think of it like that. Anyway, let's find out if this trailer is good. I have yet to see someone draw a blue hair. Stop. You guys are skewing I wanted to go in here without any bias, and you guys are already skewing everything, okay? Freaking everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. You interpret it of a rejection of beauty standards. I mean, also true, right? I'm trying to be the most generous I can be and say, if I separated this from politics, is there a way I can write her character that makes her actually likable or something like that? And so I'm going to watch this. We are going to see what happens, right? Let's approach it and see what happens. Oh boy. I promised myself I wouldn't pause, but I will say this. It's very 80s cyber punk-esque music. I don't know why people do that for space a lot, but like I get the feeling, and like the music choice is not bad. I just wanted to point that out quickly. I don't know why. Yeah, doesn't this sound like noir, 80s noir music? The suffering of generations must be endured to achieve our divine end. I mean, visually it looks nice. I know that the PS5 graphics are slowly getting outdated by modern technology, but visually it looks good. Well, obviously we're looking at the story because, visually you can do a lot of things on the PS5. This is dope space. The synth is, that's the sound. The synth, like the very magical, slow synth. Porsche. Did they put a Porsche? Oh boy. Wait. Go back to the anime. Is that a lizard in a suit? Okay, and there's our main character. Anime does look kind of cool. I would watch it. It's like Cowboy Bebop in neon. Okay. Hold on, I promised I wouldn't pause it. But let me see. Is this supposed to be her? That's not her, is it? I don't think it's her. It could be her. Yeah, I think that is her. Yeah, that is her, I think. Yeah, so this is her. Five Aces Mastermind. Dead or hiding? What happened to the 5 aces? New lead. Check beta tertia sector. Ultimate in luxury. Find fence for jewelry. Dead. Reporter's data drive. At Crescent System storage. ID photos for alias. Okay, so I'm really trying to break down this thing right now. Okay, so I think that's her. I'm not sure who these people are. That character is that character right there. This character is that character right there. I don't know who that is. Maybe that's this person right here. Can you guys see my mouse? You guys can. I don't know who this one. This one's not really referenced anywhere else. Third largest safety deposit ship discovered empty weeks after theft. Okay. I see what they're trying to do. Wait, go back. Hold on, I want to see. Oh, I thought this was his leg. I thought he was like... All right, but they're running away. Maybe they are the 5 aces. I assume that's the... I assume that the 5 aces are her old team. I don't know for sure, but I understand what they're trying to accomplish in the trailer. And I'm actually going to talk about why that fails. Why what they just did completely fails.
Jordan, tell me something good. Well, you're right. It checks out. He's hiding out around this Imperium moon. Excellent. How is that excellent? He's next to fucking Imperia. No one has left that planet in over 600 years. Anyone who even flies close to it is never heard from again. Superstitions? No. Superstitions are the crazy rumors about what happened on that planet. These are facts. You worry too much. You know what I worry just the right amount. I say we wait for him to leave, or how about we find a new lead? He's not worth it. I'm wasting my time, aren't I? Can you please blame him? I don't need another hunter swooping in. Who is swooping? No one is crazy enough to go there. He clearly is. He is clearly desperate. And so am I, so claim him, or I will find another agent. Anyone else with all your fucking shit? Okay, alright, you know what? There, you're the boss.
She is kind of punchable.
Thank you. Listen, kid. I'll see you on the other side.
Is she sitting on a gamer chair? You would have quit? Yeah, you never talk back to your agent. Alright, so I see the aesthetic they're going for. They're going for like a very 80s style thing. She got the CDs and like all the hardware is very, very old. And for some reason they also have Porsche. I'm not going to think too hard about that. From the studio that brought you Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter. They really have to stop doing this. Like, they really have to stop using, like, past games as a justification for their current game. I really have never liked the way they write that. Like, oh, from the studio that brought you The Legend of Zelda, it's Kirby. It's like, what do those two games have anything to do with each other? You know? It's like freaking Jak and Daxter. That was a cartoon platformer. The Last of Us, maybe it has a reason. From the studio that brought us The Last of Us, maybe. But not Jak and Daxter. Also the studio, not the people. Chances are many of them are retired, right? Let me think. I'm thinking of something. Something just popped into my head. Okay, let me think. Stranger Things, originally released 2016, October 2017, 2019, 2022. Okay. So if you ask me, for some reason, like the way they showed this, right? It makes me think they had a lot of the other show that instantly pops into my head that kind of has a whole 80s aesthetic and 80s vibe is Stranger Things, right? And that's the first thing that popped in, which is why I looked up their release dates. Because you have to remember, many of these games, when they release their trailers, they don't release them on like, oh, we're going to start working on it. No, it's like, probably it's been 3-4 years in development already, right? Especially for a game like Naughty Dog, a Naughty Dog style game that heavily requires actors. So it's one of the reasons why I looked up this. If you guys can think of any like media that plays off of 80s nostalgia, let me know. But like, from what I understand, for example, in Assassin's Creed was originally, like, they started developing that around the time that the George Floyd thing happened. So now George Floyd is completely irrelevant, but they still kept Yasuke in their game. So it's one of those things where it's like you have to predict the future. And it's like, first of all, I think it was a mistake for them to even put Yasuke into the game. But it's like that type of thing, right? You don't know. Like, a lot of the times, if you rely on the current events, which is why you don't want to rely on current events, by the way. Because if you rely on current events, by the time your game releases, the current events aren't relevant anymore. It's crazy the way they use their old IPs to get nostalgia or sympathy points. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, if it was the devs, then we could talk. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, the whole, like, oh, I'm going to show you all these games that we already worked on. But, okay, but anyway. I paid a lot of attention to this type of thing. So let's start with the character herself. You guys are right. She's kind of insufferable, right? And that isn't necessarily, right? I understand why you guys might say, oh, wait, that's a bad thing. And usually, for the most part, I would agree. 99% of the time, I would agree. I'm not saying she's an exception, by the way. It's like, there are some insufferable characters that can be liked. But first of all, let's actually talk about the insufferability, right? As we talked about the haircut, right? Her personality, I really don't like. And while it's obvious, let me just show some very specific things here.
Jordan, tell me something good.
This delivery right now. Tell me something good. It's like, I feel like every tough girl has this personality. Right? In voice acting and in acting, there are aspects of... Oh, wait, so let me explain to you why I hate the word grounded. I mentioned this a few times, right? A lot of people, they say having something that is grounded. Hey, how's it going? Ho, 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 Santa, you're late. It's the 27th. Get it together, man. It's like if you want to deliver a present, I'm going to have late fees now. Anyway, thanks so much. Merry Christmas, Santa. Anyway, so, okay. The problem with this is we have something in the acting world. There's something, you know, a lot of developers. Sorry you didn't deliver my 180 body pillows. Yeah, I only got 16 of them. A lot of female character, a lot of directors, they like this idea of being grounded, and what it's supposed to mean is realistic. What it actually means is, I don't want that as part of my character. I want you I want you to represent realism the way I see it. It's essentially what it means. If that makes sense. So a lot of the times when directors say something isn't grounded, essentially it means it's not realistic to me. And a lot of actors get very, very offended by it. And as a result, you know, there are some like very basic standard characters that exist. So when I talk about characters, hey Santa, let's not go over the top with this type of thing, okay? Let's try to stay on topic. So when it comes to you know, like sorry, I got distracted. When it comes to, you know, performing a character, I think they're spam bots. Hold on, let me just block them. Anyway, where was I going with this? Yeah, realistically, yeah, but who cares about the actors that we're trying to immerse ourselves in our fantasy? Well, okay, so hold on. Let me complete the thing because I got a little bit distracted. Let me complete my thought because, you know, Santa and whoever that bot was distracting me. But okay, so when we talk about a character, right, they need to have some level of reality. But reality means different things to different people, right? So very often in the video game industry, the directors control the characters, right? That's just how it is, right? And so some people, they look at reality in the same way that the director does, and they're the ones who get hired more often. And the ones who don't, well, they have to change how they view reality. But, you know, directors change all the time. So it's not always that the same director will have the same vision of reality. And so you have this character here who is, you know, this, as I think was said, the standard girl boss character. And there's a reason, you know, there's lots of character archetypes, or I call them stereotypes. Actors don't like that. They say they're archetypes, but whatever. But there are a lot of character archetypes. Like, for example, the cool dude always sounds like this. Hey, how's it going? Right? And then you always got like I'm the scared dude and I always sound like this or something and I'm kind of a loser, or, you know, something like that. Right? And that's kind of how the world works in terms of acting. Right? Yeah, the jock, right? Is like, yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna beat you up for lunch, right? So I'm starting to see a lot of this type of character. Do you guys see my mouse? You do not see my mouse. I'm starting to see this type of character right here. It's always this type of like, tell me something good. Or it's like, yeah, tell me something good. Or it's like, I can handle it on my own. You know, that type of thing. The Lancer. Yes. And they are very character, right? They're the character archetype. Maybe you can call them the girl boss. But if you want to make a girl boss and you want to make them interesting, you can't just have the character, right? And very often, a lot of these directors, a lot of these actors are very safe about it, right? They're like, tell me something good, because this is how the girl boss talks. This is how I am. And I don't know which, usually it's like, it's based on one character, and maybe there was one girl boss character who was popular, and as a result, everyone started following that thing, and then it became a stereotype, a meme, an archetype, so on and so forth, right? But like, you saw it in Marvel with Captain America, not Captain America, Captain Marvel, of course, Captain Marvel. She's like, she was always talking like this. It's like, yeah, don't tell me what to do. What's my favorite stereotype? Give me a moment. I don't want to get distracted on this. Okay, so first of all, if you want to make the character, the girl boss character, or any archetype likable, in general, all the archetypes are dislikable because that's exactly what they are. They are archetypes. They're functionally stereotypes, but that's functionally what they are. Which means if you want to portray an idea, you need to take that archetype and essentially turn it into an actual person. And how you do that is by taking the archetype and actually matching them to a emotion. So, for example, the cool guy, he doesn't always talk like this, right? If all the cool guy ever did was, hey, how's it going? I'm Rantaro Amami, and I'm super hot. No. You can't do that, right? Because if there's like a dead body archetype, wasn't that the last? Get out. Because if there's like a dead body, he discovers a dead body. I know for those of you who played Danganronpa V3, Rantaro never actually discovers a dead body, but he wouldn't go like, whoa, look at that, it's a dead body. And it's like, and like maybe he's telling us about how his tragic backstory about how all his sisters died. He's like, yeah, all my sisters died. and I'm trying to avenge them. It's like they don't do that. They don't do that. So they need to have a level of reality that is outside of them. So just this one line, tell me something good, right? All you had to do was give her an emotion that wasn't neutral. Yeah, like Sasuke. That's like, I'll kill my brother. Avocado. Didn't discover a body. Get out. Okay, so all you had to do was give her another emotion and the trailer would become much more powerful instead of tell me something good, right? Maybe she's bored, right? And she's like, tell me something good. Or maybe she's like, oh, she's just like, really got off a high of getting a whole bunch of bounties. He's like, it's like, oh, great, another bounty. Tell me something good, right? Something like that. It's like, but what they've portrayed is the most generic version of this character, which is one of the main aspects as to why people don't like her, right? Because she acts like what you would expect this character to be, or concerned or desperate. It doesn't actually matter. So, okay, so as I move forward, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I am going to assume that Naughty Dog came to me and I am a trailer storyboarder. I am a trailer story writer. I am in charge of writing a trailer. I am in charge of storyboarding it, and I am in charge of putting it together in a way that appeals to fans. Okay? Naughty Dog came to me and said, "Hey, we have this character, and she's an intergalactic, I don't know, space cop or something. I think it's bounty hunter. Like an intergalactic space bounty hunter. I want you to make a trailer and make it as good as possible so that the fans like it." And I look at the character, I was like, oh my god, what the frick am I going to do? Because this character is so freaking unlikable. So you have to pull out all the stops as a trailer writer in order to make this trailer work. So the very first thing they did wrong from the trailer's perspective is they didn't give her any semblance of what is going on in the situation. It's just, tell me something good, right? What they needed to do, if they just had like a concern, is like, tell me what to do, tell me something good, or something like that, some emotion. What it does, it gives way more information to the viewer than just tell me something good. Tell me something good just means like she's a girl boss who's been waiting for information. But if you put any amount of emotion, just a concern or something like that, well, you could make your own trailer. Yay, movie, I'd support. Thank you. I will do my best. But, once again, Naughty Dog, contact me. Just all you have to do is put in the credits, trailer based on the insufferable ranting of Manakyn, the YouTube streamer. But you got, okay, so if you added some emotion, it immediately brings context as to what is currently going on. All I know is she's waiting, right? But you can say like, oh, she's waiting, and if it was concern or desperation, that's as Bowser, you said, then it says like, oh, maybe she's been waiting for a while, and the people are getting away. Suddenly, you have more information, and then it draws more attention to what is going on around her rather than just her. And as a trailer writer, as a trailer storyboarder, I need to do that because this character does not look appealing. I need to draw whatever attention I can to things besides her. And I think that's where part of the trailer failed, because I think they were too obsessed with trying to draw attention to her, like, oh, look at how cool she is, because they wanted to make her a girl boss, right? And this is how you make a character who looks like this likable. You draw attention to things that aren't her. And that is how you make a character likable, right? It's like, I'll talk about that in a bit, but okay, so that's how you make a character like that likable, right? So first of all, you do something like that. Second of all, I understand what they were doing with the anime here, right? So when you take a character like this, if you take a character like this and you try to look at her appearance, right? She clearly doesn't care about how she looks. She's all tatted up. She shaved her head. I think, was it Arcane? You're the one who said she rejects beauty standards. Exactly. But when you reject beauty standards, you are functionally making the argument that I don't care about other people. Right? That's functionally what the argument that you're making. So, and that is a very difficult thing to grab. The character driven by the plot? Yeah, I think that's a great way to summarize it. Right? So, yeah, and anyway, back to the beauty standards. When you are looking at a character like this who is rejecting beauty standards, what she's doing is she's saying, I don't care about you guys. I don't care about what you guys think. Fine. Fair enough. You don't care about what people think. But that also will portray in a personality, right? And we know that for a fact. And you don't even have to do it you don't even have to look at evidence, right? If you make a character like this and she isn't insufferable, it will cause whiplash. I would much rather a character look like this and be insufferable than a character look like this and go, Oni-chan, do you want dinner? Because that would be like the worst possible whiplash, right? Because her being insufferable at the very least matches her appearance. She doesn't particularly care about what people think of her physically, so she shouldn't care about what people think of her personality-wise, right? Very simple, right? But now we have a problem, because she's a main character, and she's unlikable, and no person really wants to play a character who's unlikable. Because when you play a video game, what you're doing is you're committing like 20 to 30 hours to spend with the main character. So, yeah. If you wouldn't date the main character, at least in terms of personality, it's going to be rough. Like, appearance aside, if you wouldn't date the character in a personality way, it's going to be really rough for you to dedicate 20 hours. And another thing, the anime symbolizes what we wanted, but what actually we got was a fool. Yes. Man, you have like some like future, seeing into the future powers, because that was actually where I wanted to draw the attention next. So when we look at the anime, I get what they were going for here. What they were trying to do was they were trying to create some level of point of relatability. And they were essentially they were doing this. They were trying to get the character to be relatable in some way. Oh, she watches anime just like you guys. Character needs something likable. They don't need to be likable. Yes. See, that is exactly what we're talking about, especially as a trailer storyboarder, right? That's exactly it. That's like perfect. That's a perfect summary. And so first they drew out some relatability. The animation is skilled. Yeah, this animation is really good, honestly. And it looks like it's in like 24 frames per second too, which is pretty good. So this anime right here, right? They were trying to draw out some point of relatability, but it doesn't make us really like her, right? It just makes us relate to her, right? And then next we had this, right? I spent a while on this, and there was a reason for this. This was trying to help us get some sort of point of contention, why we should care about her, functionally, right? Whether or not it's some sort of level of innocence, or some sort of level of like desire to help her, or something. But here's the big problem. Remember, I paused on this, right? Let's actually count the seconds. All right, let's count the seconds that the big picture appears on the screen, okay? 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. Not even a little bit more than 5 seconds, right? So first of all, 5 seconds on this mess. Okay, I'm going to tell you what they probably should have done as a trailer storyboard thing. They should have kept this picture. They should have kept this picture right here, and then maybe this picture of here, and maybe this, and then removed everything else. She doesn't stand out in the photo. Yeah, it's not, first of all, it's not even clear that this is her. If you guys remember, I spent like 3 minutes trying to figure out if this was her. Right? All they needed to do, keep these two pictures, keep this picture and then this news article, keep this picture and maybe this news article. It's a theft, so I'm assuming that this person committed a theft. And then keep this big picture. That's literally all they needed to do. Do something like that, right? And that would have been way better. Although it still doesn't make me care for this person. Right? I don't particularly care for this person right now. Like, I still don't know who these people are, right? I have no ability to relate to them. I don't know what they really do. So to an extent, I understand the anime. I understand why they did this. But as a trailer writer, this does not get me any investment in the character. This does not help me figure out why she's redeemable, why she's likable, why do I want to protect her? And this is a very important point. Why do you want to protect her? And that is something that a lot of game developers don't even want to think about now, because, you know, when you have a female main character, they're trying to make her badass. I don't need any protection. This is the reality of video games. When you play video games, you are protecting the main character. That's what you are doing. You are being a parent to the main character. You are protecting the main character. You are essentially babying the main character because you care about them and you want them to live, right? Maybe have her ruminating on the main photo. Yeah, we'll actually talk about what we want to do with this. But it's very important that you want to protect the main character. It's one of the reasons why a lot of Japanese RPGs, the characters are either 16 or 20, right? Because those are the two coming of ages of Japan. In America, being an adult is 18, but in Japan, it's 16 or 20, depending on how you look at it, which is why so many main characters of video games are either 16 or 20 or somewhere in between there. So, yeah. But I want a damsel in distress to save. To an extent, yes. All right, so this is what I would do. If you gave me this trailer and you gave me this mess of a character and I said, please make a trailer that makes this likable, this is what I would do. First of all, where is it? Where's my prop? Okay. First of all, take out the anime. Take out the anime. Just take out the anime entirely. Replace them with this. Not even joking right now. Replace them with frickin' Fuecoco plushies. Okay? Put Fuecoco plushies on her bed. Put Fuecoco plushies on her frickin' couch. Right? Make her seem very childish. Make her seem like there is something that is innocent about her that you want to preserve. Okay? That's the very first thing that I would do. I would replace the anime, replace them with plushies. I don't care if they're Care Bears but make them like silly. Make them like Fuecocos. Or make them like Quaxleys or something like that. Quaxley is buried under like a pile of clothing. All I have is Fuecoco right now. But yeah, replace them with plushies, right? Because it makes her seem childish. And, oh, isn't that a bad thing? No, you're trying to protect this person. That's your job as a player. So make her childish and innocent. And you don't have to do that in her actual personality. We already talked about how we would change that first line. But all you have to do is give her plushies or something like that. Right? Second of all, but that would make her likable. Oh no! Making a character likable? Oh god! Okay, so that's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do is I would remove all of this. I would rewrite the basic story here, right? The basic story needs to be something you can relate to very, very quickly. This, you cannot relate to it fast enough, right? More qua. I still don't know how to pronounce your name. But yeah, you said something about have her ruminate. I would appreciate that in a longer cinematic trailer. Unfortunately, this is 4 minutes. This is a long trailer. Like I said, long trailers aren't good. But trailers, we have a limited amount of time. And they only spent 5 seconds on this. You could ruminate on it. And frankly, I would remove this whole scene here where she's like doing this. Like this is 15 seconds of complete nonsense. But besides the point, you know, where is it here? One thing I would do is this. If she had a younger sibling she wanted to protect or save. Ooh, see, that is great, right? There are a few different ideas you can do to make this work. But one thing you could do, get rid of this whole like FBI connecting the dots tinfoil hat detective wall. We don't need this. What I want to see is I want to see a picture of her before she became unlikable. Right? Have a picture of her before she became this unlikable piece of crap. Because suddenly, she's a likable character, just not currently. Right? So maybe instead of this whole thing, this whole, look at all these look at all these pictures of her trying to find her old crew. What she could do, you would say she was very cutesy and demure. You mean this one? This character? I mean, I would want to see a picture of an era where she was really happy. So there would be hope, not that she would not be a piece of that. Functionally, yes. You're trying to save her, right? That's your job. Your job as a player is you're trying to save her. So if you have a picture of a period where she was happy and lovable, then suddenly you have a goal to work towards, right? That's functionally what it is. So, Arcane, you said something about a sibling. I was going to say something about a husband, but I also realized that there was no chance that these developers would ever have this big, strong woman get married. But, you know, I was thinking of, like, having a picture of her, like, very happy with, like, you know, much, you know, a more clearly involved a non-bounty hunter haircut. Like a haircut that clearly wasn't created for practicality. A haircut that was clearly created for aesthetic purposes or something like that, right? And she's smiling and she's happy. Maybe it's her wedding day or something like that. Or Arcane, as you said, maybe a younger sibling. I would say an older sibling, personally. But, you know, if she was a younger sibling, or if she was an older sibling, maybe a picture of her and her younger sibling or her older sibling happily playing, maybe even children's pictures or something like that, right? Birthday party, perfect. At a birthday party where she's pretty and it's like she's clearly dressing in a way where she actually cares about what people think of her, right? Because, you know, one of the reasons why she's so unlikable is because she doesn't care anymore, right? Do that. A birthday party, a wedding, I don't know, a bar mitzvah, a quinceañera. I don't know. And next to that picture, maybe we'll have, like, I don't know, a news article of the third largest safety deposit ship discovered empty, and 28 dead in theft or something like that. Can you imagine her in pink heels? And like 28 dead or something like that. Like 28 stab wounds. Yeah, long story short, right? So you have a picture of that, and then you have a picture of that, and then the implication is very clear. Someone she cared about died. Like Billy in his bar mitzvah and Agatha. I never actually saw Agatha All Along, so I'll have to check that one out. Apparently, Agatha All Along was claimed to be the gayest Disney franchise or something like that. But yeah, and those two things are all I really need to make her likable. Like, as a trailer writer, that is what I would propose. And once again, this, as a trailer writer, you still have to pass this to the developers and the producers. And if they say no, well, you're kind of in a tough spot. So I can't fully blame the trailer writers either, because it's very possible that the director would be like, no, I don't want her in a dress because that is too girly or something like that. It is. I don't know. I'll have to watch Agatha. Maybe we'll do a reaction to Agatha All Along at some point. But yeah, so this is what I do, right? It's a very simple change. In fact, the rest of it can stay the same, right? She can be a jerk all she wants, as long as I have an idea that she was once not a jerk. It's like instead of this with her crew, I get it, you know, she was with her crew, but make her, you know, at least in the trailer, make it so she's protecting, like, or she's going off to avenge an older sibling. The reason, by the way, Arcane, the reason why I like I like her being the younger sibling instead of the older sibling. The younger sibling is great if you want to protect or save them. The older sibling is great if you want to avenge them. Because if you are a younger sibling, chances are the older sibling is protecting you. And so when you lose that and you need to avenge the older sibling, you have to make a big change in your life. And it's a bigger change than if you were the older sibling avenging it. But if you were trying to protect them, then it could be a younger sibling. So that's why I chose the older sibling dying instead of the younger sibling being protected. But, you know, it's all up to how you might want to set things up. Like Sans and Parapus, exactly. So it's all about how you want to set it up. Either way works, really. Shadow the Hedgehog and Maria. Wait, Maria. Good times. Right. Yeah, but what was I saying? It's exactly this. This is how I would change the trailer. And it's a very simple change. The rest of it, I don't particularly mind. I understand the...
Can you please blame him? I don't need another hunter swooping in.
Who is swooping? No one is crazy enough to go there.
He clearly is.
He is clearly desperate.
And so am I, so claim him, or I will find another agent.
Anyway, I don't know why they did this. It's kind of silly. It's kind of like silly writing. It's like, we want her to do something cool. There's really no need for even to do this. Keep it simple in trailer writing. I might remove this. One thing I might do is, instead of having this stupid thing, oh, or I'll find another agent. Make her actually show some emotion. Make her angry. Like, or I'll find another agent. Or something like that. You don't, like... Once again, this character never actually changes. But that's the problem. We don't actually see a story of this character in the game. Not to mention, I don't really even know what the story is. All I know is that she's a bounty hunter. But why is she a bounty hunter? I guess they ask this question here of she's looking for someone, but it's not even really clear what the goal is. Is there like a larger mission, or is she just looking for people that she used to know? I don't even really know what the story is. I'm gonna be honest, and I didn't really even think about that because, you know, the beginning of the story was kind of a little bit of a mess. But I would think that, you know, the story is a bit too unclear about what exactly is going on. All I know is she's looking for people and she's trying to be a bounty hunter. She has no concern for her life, unlike her agent, and that's rare to find. Yeah. The patriarchy kidnapped her lesbian. That's the story. They tried to make us ask about her past, but they forgot to make us care. Yeah. Yeah, it's not even clear. It's not even clear what's exactly is going on. The trailer is like a complete mess. I'd say by the time I got... Okay, so where does the trailer really start? So the trailer really starts here, I would say. It starts here. By the time we got to here, so that's 54 minutes to 1 minute. So 50, let's say 50 to 40. So that's a little bit, let's say about 50 seconds. So by the time we got to 50 seconds, I'm going to be honest, I stopped caring. Right. It's like, this is too much of a mess to decipher right here. And the anime is the only thing that actually is showing a functional story right now. So it's like the moment she turned off the anime, I kind of lost interest. Like, I tried to keep watching, but it's like, the anime, the story of the anime, I think is clearer, more clear than what she's doing, right? These two seem to be like space thieves, and they are trying to fight against their lizard overlords. It's like, I think that story is clearer than than the rest of the trailer. Like this is the thing I love, right? Look at this freaking anime. And it's really bad if the trailer's supposed to make you want the game. I know, right? I know, this should be the anime. Like, look at this. They put the lizard in a suit. It's like, clearly these lizards are some sort of like business people. They're like a mafia or something. So it's like, they establish, everything they do wrong in the trailer, they actually do right in the freaking anime. If the story within the story is better, it got something wrong. I know, I want the anime more than I want the game. Like, they should, oh wait, this is what you do, right? Delete the, wait, write this off as a tax write-off. Wait, write this game off as a tax write-off, okay? Say, sorry, this game was a failure. We have to write it as a tax write-off, and save your freaking money and produce this anime. That's how you make money. The color, I know, the color is insane, man. It's so 80s adjacent with like the crappy TV and everything. It's great. It's like, you have these dudes in suit, like everything they do, right? You have these dudes in suits. So clearly the lizards are superior to the people. You have this woman in a jumpsuit with like these tiger stripes. She's clearly some sort of badass, you know, vigilante. Where's this guy? Here, and now they're running from the cops. Where is it? Here, now they're running from the cops. It's like, it's clear exactly what is going on in the anime. How much would I pay for a game like this? I'm gonna try to be practical with that answer. Not just like, oh, they couldn't pay me, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna buy this game. It doesn't look interesting to me. Unless they really pull out something. Like, if this game ends up being an XCOM strategy game, I might play it. But how much would I pay for a game like this? How do I want to answer that? I think I wouldn't consider this anime enough to have an answer for that, or this game enough to have an answer for that, which I'm trying to make it like a more practical statement. It's not like oh, I wouldn't pay anything, right? Because it's like asking me, how much would I pay for an oversized beach ball? It's like, well, I'm never really going to use it, so what's the point, right? If that kind of makes sense, right? You want to know the IRL studio who made the anime? The anime is pretty good, honestly. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, the failure of this trailer is far beyond the fact that the character is unlikable. The character being unlikable is almost like a symptom for the fact that this video game in and of itself is kind of a failure, if that makes sense. It's like you know, like when something is wrong, everything is wrong, if that makes sense. Does that kind of make sense? It's like when one thing is wrong, it's usually a sign that there are a whole bunch of things that are wrong. It's like ants, right? When you see an ant on your kitchen wall, you kill it immediately. Why? Because you know there's like maybe 100 more ants somewhere else that you just don't see them yet. So when I see like a character who is like ugly and they don't make her likable in the first 5 seconds, it's like, I know that there are a bunch of ants somewhere else. You get me? Yeah, okay, thank you. I wasn't sure you guys got it, but yeah. It's like it's like one of those things, right? I don't think this character is beyond redemption, but if they wanted to write a character like this and make the game interesting and fun and the players want to play, they have to do it in a specific way. And the fact that this character even exists tells me that they're not going to do it. It's like one of those things, right? It's not necessarily the fact that she is this abrasive, dislikable character that makes it a bad game. But because she's an abrasive, dislikable character, it tells me they're not going to put in the effort to make it a good character. It's like one of those things. It's not that it's abrasive, but it is also the fact that she's an abrasive, dislikable character. Do you guys get what I'm saying? I hope you guys get what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of a weird thing. It's like if you cough, you're not sick. That's not a guarantee that you're sick. But if you cough, that's a sign that you might be sick. So it's like, I don't go around accusing people who are coughing that they're sick. Oh, you're sick, right? But I certainly might take a few steps away from them. It's clear? Okay. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on the intergalactic. It says something that I don't even remember its title, but these are my thoughts on intergalactic. And I think it's a situation where the developers are still living in, like, 2020. Like, if this game came out in 2020, maybe it could have seen reasonable success. When did Last of Us 2 come out? Only 64% people liked it in 2020. Exactly, right? I think this game could have had reasonable success, maybe not the most success, but reasonable success if it came out in 2020, right? This abrasive character might have been, reasonably okay. But I think the longer that we saw this character, we saw it in movies, we saw it in video games, we saw it in TV shows, the more it became very tired. You doubt that? I mean, in the same way that The Last of Us 2 saw reasonable success, right? Not everyone really liked The Last of Us 2. Well, who was that? There was like a new character. I never even played The Last of Us. I watched a gameplay of it. I think I watched PewDiePie play The Last of Us, to be honest. But it's like, was it Annie? Like, there was this like super like buff, big, strong woman named Annie in The Last of Us. Abby. Thank you, Abby. Like the whole meta-human era. Yeah, pretty much, right? People got really tired of superheroes really fast in the same way people get tired of this character really fast. Yeah, Abby, not Annie. I'm going to freaking play The Last of Us 2, and I'm just going to keep calling her Annie because I'm not going to remember, I swear to God. But yeah, like, lots of people didn't like it, but it saw some level of success because it was an attempt to do something a little bit different, and people tried to embrace it. You want to stop making women masculine? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Well, she's okay. No, but I totally understand what you're saying, right? Sakura Ogami is like her, like the reason she exists is to be masculine, right? And that's very different from making women masculine. What a handsome woman. I know, right? Everyone loves her. I love my big, strong woman, Sakura Ogami. The problem is not the archetypical character, but it's the lack of nuance. Exactly. exactly, right? If all you have is the archetype and not the nuance, then it's just it's one-dimensional. And when you have something that is very one-dimensional, it is essentially it isn't general enough for people to understand, right? A nerd is not relatable. A nerd who is being bullied and he wants to fight against the people who are bullying him, that is relatable. Because it's not just a nerd, right? Because then it can also apply to a businessman who, feels like no matter what, his boss is, always pissing him off. It could apply to a kid who feels like his dad never acknowledges him. It's that type of thing. Right? So like one-dimensionality, I would say like the reason why one-dimensionality is bad is because you can't apply it in a more general sense. If that makes sense. Now I have Sakura Ogami on the screen. But yeah, that's my thought on Intergalactic. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break, and then after that, I want to watch another thing that might be more controversial. Either looking at some like Asmongold stuff, or maybe look at Assassin's Creed. You guys figure out what you guys want to want me to react to next, and I'm gonna try to the one thing I'm trying to do is I'm not trying to use like just standard terms like, I think bandwagon. I try to stay away from the word bandwagon, because if you use those terms enough, they start to lose meaning. So there are some kind of one-dimensional characters, and it's a lot of people, and that's a lot of people, but that's like a small list. No. See, here's the interesting thing, Sad God Tale. You're not wrong. Like, I brought up Danganronpa, so let's look at Danganronpa. Danganronpa has a lot of one-dimensional characters, right? But the difference between that and this is there's 16 of them. There are 16 one-dimensional characters, so different aspects of each character together create one character. And then that's how you have like the philosophies clash, right? One of the really good ones, I think a really good example of what you're saying is in Danganronpa 53, V3. Fire Emblem does that. Fire Emblem does that as well, right? Like, I think a really good example is Danganronpa V3. Himiko Tenko. We gotta bring these two up. These two, I freaking love these two. Like, you guys knew I freaking adored Tenko. They always have character development. Yes, and let me actually, I said I was going to the bathroom, but this is a really cool conversation. So, let me actually tell you guys character development and how exactly you want to approach character development, because it's very interesting, right? Especially how Danganronpa does it. Okay, so spoilers for Danganronpa V3. But you have Himiko, who is incredibly lazy. That's literally her character. I'm a mage. You guys knew I hated her. I loved her. I didn't actually hate her. I actually really liked her. I hope you guys know that was like a joke. But and then you had Tenko, who was like this super energetic, spunky, you can do it, right? And what happened between the love to hate, essentially. And what happened between them was how their character developed was she has one very one-dimensional philosophy, and Himiko also has very one-dimensional philosophy. And after, spoilers, after Tenko died, Himiko took on part of Tenko's philosophy and became a more complete character. So that's how Danganronpa did their character development. It was really great. Because as characters died, some of the characters were absorbed into other characters. And slowly we started to see these one-dimensional characters become more complete and functional people. Right? It's not just, oh, I want to be lazy. I want to be lazy, but there are people rooting for me. And so now I'm going to try to work a little bit harder. And so even though her philosophy wasn't perfectly changed, she realized, there are more ways at looking at the world. And then we had the cult leader, Angie. And freaking Angie was all like a little bit extreme, but she tried to, while she was crazy, she also wanted to, help you know, she wanted to help bring peace to things like that, and she did it in her way she knew how, which was start a cult. And so, you know, Himiko takes on a piece of that, well, the good parts of that, which is doing some level of work to bring peace to the world. Just like X and X characters from some X something anime. What? But yeah, so this is how we put together everything you guys said, right? See, everything you guys said is correct. Like, literally everything you guys said is like really spot on, but it's just incomplete in terms of context. Hey, how's it going, Bowser? We're talking about Himiko and Tenko and how they're way better than the characters from Intergalactic. But yeah, okay. We had, you know, we like this is how it, what is it? Sad Godtail said, there are some one-dimensional characters. And then Morkeen said, they also have character development. And those things are actually the same thing, just at two different parts of the context, two different part of the stories, right? They do have a lot of one-dimensional characters, and they do have character development because they are one-dimensional. So they have one-dimensional characters who slowly absorb the other characters' philosophies to create a complete Bowser. I read the word Bowser and I said... I had like two different thoughts in my head. I was about to say welcome back, Bowser, and I was about to say a complete character. Frank. But yes, welcome back, Bowser. A complete Bowser. But no, a complete character. They have a complete... I'm never living this down. A complete Bowser. Himiko plus Tenko equals Bowser. The antidote pretended to drink. Look, I was freaking out. I was like in a panic. I was like, oh crap, I only have a limited amount of time after Kill the Mind Master, and I had to put things together. I was like, I don't want to screw it up again and make myself look dumb. And then I wrote the antidote, pretended to drink. On the meatball! Still your favorite short. Something about trees. Okay, anyway, y'all look at Himiko and Tenko. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. Then after that, maybe we'll watch like the Assassin's Creed stuff and like really understand what's going on in the Assassin's Creed. We'll point out all the bad stuff on Assassin's Creed. Pigeon, where? Hello, everybody. I'm back. Did I change my shirt? Yes, because for some reason it's kind of hot in here. Sokka from Avatar is one of the best written characters simply because he goes from being misogynistic, do it for himself, to respected and open. I think everyone loved the Kyoshi Island Warriors episode. I think literally everyone loved that episode. And I don't see why people don't make more episodes like that. Yeah, it was a great. And apparently the live action versions, like there were like 4 different live action versions of like Avatar, and they all screwed that up. Like they were afraid to have Sokka like make girl jokes about the Kyoshi Island Warriors. Something. Anyway, what videos? Do you guys have any videos that I should watch? Oh, somebody asked if I was going to play Stellar Blade. I do want to, because from what people understand, Stellar Blade is like the spiritual successor to Nier Automata, people say. Sokka believing women can fight like men. Wait, I disagree. Sokka believing that women can fight like men was a very small mini arc. I don't think he ever actually thinks that women fight like men. He saw, I think how I interpret that is that he saw a group of women who fought in a way that he didn't understand, and he got to the point where it was better to learn from them than to keep his ego in check. And then to keep his ego inflated, let's say. Let's put it like that. I would say something more like that. Sokka makes comments, then proceeds to eat his word. Pretty much. Anyway, if you guys don't have one, there is one video that I did want to watch, which is like, Assassins. No, the lesson was clearly women are as tough as men. I will say, in response to that, I don't necessarily like what they did with a lot of the female characters in the later episodes of Avatar. Not in a man versus women way. One thing I didn't really like is how they treated Toph as a character. You know, people like Toph because she's like the greatest earthbender in the world, or something along those lines. But I kind of understand what you're trying to say as well. One of the problems I had with Toph is that I say this sometimes, she was a master key. She wasn't a character. It's like, you need to find a way into Ba Sing Se, give the answer to Toph. You need to find a way to deal with the metal ships, give the answer to Toph. You need to find a way to tell if someone's lying, give that answer to Toph. It's like, Toph, functionally, because she was so supernatural, they just gave her all the stuff that the characters needed to get to the next point of the show, or the story, let's say. And so that was one thing I didn't like. And I feel like they did that quite a bit to various women in the series. So similar things happened to Katara. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. Like, something similar did happen to Katara. Something similar did happen to Ty Lee and May. Like, interestingly enough, they didn't really do that with Azula. But Azula was like this kind of like over-the-top psycho character. So there was no need to, I suppose. At least it wasn't like in Korra. That's true. That is true. I actually didn't like Korra as much, and it's not for the reasons that a lot of people think. A lot of people think like, oh, you don't like Korra because she was a girl. No, actually, I don't like Korra for the exact opposite reason. It was Korra was like 99% of Korra was Korra failing over and over again. And then the last 1%, she finds a way to win and victory and everything works out. So it was like this weird like whiplash I constantly got when when I was watching Korra, because Korra just like fails over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and then suddenly I can airbend. If you guys know the line I'm talking about at the end of the first season, where she literally just stands up and goes, I can airbend, and then she starts airbending. She's Ash's Pikachu. Pretty much. The story was choppy. Who do you think Azula married later on? Zuko. Duh. Oni-chan. Hello? I mean, what? I doubt she gets with anyone. Yeah, she probably doesn't get with anyone. You think she's crazy enough to be able... Do you think she's normal enough to be able to, like, be pregnant for 9 months or something like that? No, she's not having a kid. She's not getting married. Anyway. We're... Besides the point. Assassin's Creed... Shadows, Dev, Diary. She was right. They put her in a straitjacket. Maybe the crazy would neutralize, but who's crazy enough to be with her? Is it this one or is it? Oh, it's not you. No offense to you, but you're not a developer. Dev Diary 1. Oh, it's Assassin's Creed 2. Anyway, yeah, I think it's this one that they wanted me to watch. Jet? I mean, Jet wasn't really crazy. He was angry. Okay, so let's see this, and hopefully they don't copy strike me. They probably will. Oh, whoa. Before we even continue, I'm just looking at this. And I see the thumbnail. And this looks like the actor, maybe? I'll zoom in for you guys. Where is it? This one. Who are you? Like this is she the actor for Intergalactic? Oh, sorry.
Why do companies follow the blueprint?
Yes, it's her. Okay, so Tati Gabrielle. Lead actress Tati Gabrielle recently social media Instagram post. Oh no. Oh no, did they do it again? Oh no.
It's for a
sorry, Smash JT. I'm commandeering your... Oh, what the frick? Oh, good God. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Hey, they even have... They even... I will just say, I'm not gonna, that made me feel something not good. I will just say this, right? I assume that she posted this or something. Yeah. Lead actress Tati Gabrielle's recent social media post on her Instagram, now deleted. Let me hear what he has to say first.
Why do companies follow the blueprints for a failed project when it's been proven time and time again? Doing what they're doing right now is a surefire way to destroy the very game that they've worked tirelessly on for years. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of
Smash JT.
Naughty Dog finds themselves in...
just for citation purposes, this is Smash JT, and the previous video was from The Witcher, and then the previous video... The other one's Sony. It's fine. This one's an actual YouTuber making commentary, so I'll just say, for citation purposes, the person who created this was Smash JT.
Dilemma with the main protagonist that plays Jordan by the name of
Her name is Jordan?
Gabrielle, who
I didn't even know.
on Instagram a fairly inflammatory picture trying to piss off the chuds before ultimately
he's been in the gaming industry
and deleting it, but the internet never forgets.
Okay, so she did post this. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I just wanted to verify that she was the one who did like posted or retweeted or what. I don't think she actually drew this. It's by Luria. Don't, just for political purposes, don't engage with. You guys know. You guys know. I don't have a large enough audience to send you guys as an army to fight anyone. But good artist. I mean, the art looks pretty good, to be honest. Are you with Gamergate 2 or are you against it? So I didn't even know it was called Gamergate 2. I was very familiar with Gamergate 1. The whole, it started as an anti-media movement and it moved on to, I forgot who was it. Some female game developer attempted to use Gamergate as a justification for why she was getting harassed by criticism, something like that. But it was Gamergate. Gamergate was originally the anti movement, and all I really care about is Gamergate created this adorable little character that had an oversized sweater, and I like oversized sweaters. What's her name? Vivian? Yeah, she's so relatable. Like, she's so freaking relatable. This was the mascot of Gamergate, by the way, for those of you. My opinions are wholesome. No, like, I totally get this. She's just like a girl who just wants to be left alone, man. Freaking love this hoodie. Anyway, totally besides the point. But, yeah, so this is something I really don't like. Okay. I'm gonna break this down in a few seconds, and I think, and this is from someone who is kind of in acting. I think it's clear why everyone hates this image. Okay, let's be real here. It's not that hard. She's clearly, I think one of the biggest problems now is that, okay, so first of all, this image is clearly meant to be condescending. Let's be real here. It's like, oh, look at you, you sad little boy. Something like that, right? I really don't have a problem with it being condescending. You can do whatever you want. I think, to me, the thing that's just the saddest to see about this is, as I've said, it's the actor's job to understand why people are liking or disliking things and understanding why things are the way they are. And when I see this, and I see an actor actively consciously posting something that is condescending and clearly saying, I am better than you and I'm going to be condescending, it's almost like they're not trying to hide the fact that they don't, that they're not trying to be artists anymore. It's like, art, one of the things about art is that it's going to get criticized. And your job is to figure out why it's bad or why it's good and, figure out a way to make it better. Because there is no way to quantify art. Right? At least not to the extent that that humans do it. Maybe you can do it in terms of AI, but there's no obvious way to quantify art. So when you get criticized, your job is to figure out why exactly it's wrong. Now, when you post this and essentially say, it's not my job to figure out why it's wrong, you guys like it, it's just so sad that they're not really even taking their job seriously anymore. But they're condescending people and insulting to those people being whose money they need to survive. Yeah, I know. It's just awful. I wish, there used to be an era, and this is not all completely true, but it used to be many, many, many years ago, artists were respected because they attempted to portray reality in a way that people would understand it. And this is like an I don't even care anymore. Like, burning free speech sign. Do you guys remember this? I'm not sure you guys really remember this. There was a college protest here. Free speech. Yeah, I'm not sure you guys really can relate or understand to these things. But, a very long time ago in UC Berkeley, I think this was UC Berkeley, right? There was a big protest, a bunch of college students, and look at how they're dressed, man. They had freaking suits and ties. They had a big protest in, I think, UC Berkeley, and they had this free speech thing, and I don't remember exactly. It might have been to something to do with their like student newspaper. I don't even remember anymore. But they had a big protest, right? You know, in like, what is it? I don't even remember. Like, but 50 years later, they have another protest, and it's very clearly mirroring this sign right here. And they're like, okay, screw that. I'm going to burn it. So it's like when things have gone so full circle, right? It's gone so full circle. It's like, okay, you know, we fought so hard for free speech, and now it's like, okay, well, our true motives, or either our true motives or something comes out that someone commandeers our true motives. It's essentially what I feel with this. It's like artists used to really care about what they were doing as a way to help the common man. Like, they used to really care. And now they don't give a damn. Like, not a single damn. And it's really disheartening to see that. Especially when, as a kid, I actually did want to... I actually, believe it or not, when I was younger, I went to art school. Not like in elementary and middle school. Like, many of my teachers encouraged me to pursue art when I was in middle school. It's not a brag or anything. It's like, you know, only an idiot ever wants to be an artist. No, I'm kidding. No, but like, and I remember my parents, they said something like, oh, it's great if you want to be an artist, you know, but you have to remember that almost all of art is going to be, you know, a struggle. It's going to be just you dealing with criticism constantly and something that you have to accept. And I was like, oh, well, I don't want to do that. And so, yeah. So I you know, I took a step back. I pursued engineering, and then eventually I got into voice acting, which is kind of like art adjacent, let's be real. And like, I'm starting to understand exactly what my parents were saying. Like, they're not in art or movies or anything. Why you call me out? I know, Kioma Bowser. I'm sorry that I'm right and you're wrong. No, I'm kidding. But you know, it's one of those things where it's like you just have to be willing to accept that everything is, no matter what you do, someone's going to think you're wrong. And so it's one of those things where, like, if you cannot accept that, you shouldn't be an actor. If you cannot accept that your job is to represent reality for like the everyday man, you should not be an actor. And that's just how that's just, I think actors used to really have that philosophy in the same way that, you know, journalists used to have like their journalistic integrity, and like maybe professors used to have like, oh, we only write the papers that we really think are relevant and valuable, and we'll, you know, we have no problem writing about our failures because it's important to document what doesn't work. And it's the same thing with a whole bunch of industries. Now it's, you know, about essentially what you can do to blame everyone else but yourself. Journalists are seen as a joke, I know, right? It's really sad to see. It's actually very sad to see. One of my friends is a journalist. He's a journalistic major. And he quit that when he saw where journalism was heading, and he used those skills to go into business. And now he's like a manager of like a massive call center, and so like he makes a whole bunch of money now. So yeah, but you know, journalist skills, you don't always have to apply them to journalism, right? If they're other industries. Anyway, yeah, I just saw this. If the actor posted this, I'm just really disappointed. They should not be doing this. And don't get me wrong, as a voice actor, I do use social media because I have to. I have to post the things that I am a part of, almost as a publicity thing. But it's like, I don't always like going on Twitter, because whenever I go on Twitter, I see notifications, and like the top 6 notifications are like, awesome, Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is going to kill us all. I was like, okay, can you guys make a decision now? Is he Hitler, or is he Jesus? Which one do you guys prefer? You believe reality and fiction being completely different and separate, only reflected in some ways, but they want no immersion or escape. Oh, I'm glad that you brought that up. Immersion and escapism. Let's just find a nice little picture of, I don't know. I just want to change that picture because that picture was annoying me. I don't know. What's a good picture? That's a nice picture. Just have that on the screen for a little bit. Okay, but see, escapism and immersion, or like immersion and escape in reality, those are really interesting topics, right? Isn't it actually considered a mental illness? I think it is. I don't know for sure. Don't quote me, but I think it is. But when we talk about escapism and immersion, you know, it's very important we really think about what those things mean, right? Because here's a great example of escapism, right? You are a cardboard box floating through space. That's it. That's the entire video game. That's it. That's it. It's very, there's a lot of escapism there, but nobody would ever want to play that, right? So you're always playing this balancing act of making things just barely relatable, and then applying fantasy everywhere else, right? If you can't relate to a cardboard box, right? So when it comes to immersion and escapism, there's a very basic philosophy that people talk about, and I'm really glad you brought this up, which is you apply the minimum amount of reality possible. That is the rule when you're writing a fantasy. In fact, when you're writing just about anything, right? You always want to apply the minimum amount of reality possible. I can't relate to a box. And we talked about this before with what is it called? Chekhov's gun. If you put a gun in the play, someone better shoot it at some point in the play, right? You always apply the minimum amount of reality possible. And the reason why you apply the minimum amount of reality possible is because you need it to relate to as many people as possible. If you are talking about a kid who is struggling with bullies, that general story applies to a lot of people because it is very general and it can be interpreted in so many different ways, right? You can say like, okay, maybe it's actually a bully, or maybe it's like a work bully, or maybe, you know, bullied by, you know, nature, and how, like, you know, nature didn't give you a good hand. There's so many different ways you can interpret that, right? If you say something like bullied in school by a bunch of bullies because you're struggling with thoughts of transgender, it's like, okay, well, now you've just cut off like 99% of the population. It's like, that's functionally why there is a rule where you apply as little as you need. You apply absolutely as little as you need in order to write your story. You apply as few facts as possible. You apply the minimum amount of reality possible that makes things able to understand without getting rid of it, which is one of the reasons also why I don't like this whole what is it? We need to tell more like Asian stories, or we need to tell more Black stories or women's stories, because all the stories have some level of relatability, right? You agree on that as well? Oh wait, a fantasy game with dragons and magic, but the MC still struggles to open a jar. Man, look at these guns. Look at these massive guns. No, pretty much. But yeah. So so that's like the thing. Like, I hate this idea of telling more women's stories, because functionally what you're doing is the more specific you get in a story, the more people you start to cut off. And so it's like, oh, why aren't people playing my stories that are trying to tell? Why aren't so many men playing the stories that are, you know, trying to represent women's stories? Like, gee, I freaking wonder. It's like, if you write about a woman who is struggling because she is poor, let's say, that is a woman's story that doesn't need any application into being an actual woman. And I think, you know, you can put that character in a game and make a woman's story, and it doesn't need to have any application to being a woman, and just about everyone will play that. I think Horizon, as far as I understand, was okay. Was it freaking it can't be for everyone, but it can be for no one. Yeah. I mean, like, what is it? Freaking Claire Redfield from Resident Evil 2. Everyone loved freaking Claire Redfield. She was trying to find her brother. Was that it? I think she was trying to find her brother Chris Redfield, right? And like, but it's like the fact that she was a woman didn't really have any relevance in the story. Like, she just happened to be a woman, and she happened to be looking for her brother, and she needed to save some scientist's daughter. But to an extent, that didn't really have that much relevance, right? She just happened to be a person who was fighting there. And, okay, maybe the fact that she was a woman is because Leon needs to preserve the Redfield family bloodline. I'm just saying, Leon, wink. But, yeah, does your character have to be in a way or happen to be in a way? Exactly. And all, like, you know, I'm a big believer that, you know, you write as little about the character as possible, and then you can fill in all the blanks later, right? If you are writing something, you want to create as little as your character as possible, and then you could put the details in as they become relevant, but you do not start with all, like, so many details in order to... Let's put it like this, right? I was born into the world, right? When my mom gave birth to me, I was born into the world. But the world was already established, right? The world didn't change for me. The world didn't warp for me, right? And that's the same as a video game. That's exactly the same as a video game. If I was born into, I don't know, cyberpunk, right? It's not like suddenly people are going to act differently. No, they're going to act the exact same way. And I just happen to be there. It's those things, right? We need to get better at separating those two things. I think that definitely has to happen more. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you. Yes, make sure to like and subscribe. But yeah, your character could be an alien and you can still relate to them. Exactly, absolutely. And I think, how do I put this? You know, a character and a world don't have to coexist together. They can, you know, the world exists and the character exists, and they happen to coincide in the world. And you don't have to write a story specifically catered towards women. You don't have to write a story specifically catered to men, right? Now, obviously, there are some genres that will appeal more to women and men, but the stories themselves, you don't have to... I feel like we try too hard to, I need to tell this type of story. I need to tell that type of story. You don't do that. It's like, tell the most general story possible in the best way that you can. That's all you really need to do. Yeah, anyway, you know, we've gone on long enough. Let's watch this Assassin's Creed Developer Diary. Already I'm noticing that the rice patties are in the wrong place. Why are you guys in your underwear? We're not even 1 second in. Come on, guys. Okay, so let's talk about this. I'm gonna discuss this really quickly. The rice patties here. The reason why I said the rice patties are in the wrong place is because it's on this river, right? If this was a man-made river, that makes sense. It doesn't look like a man-made river. Essentially, rivers in Japan flood a lot. And when they flood, they interfere with the rice paddies. So generally, what you would do if you were a rice farmer is you would terrace your hillsides, and you would plant the rice along the hillside. You could do this, but you have to be very careful about the river. If this river floods, the rice crop is destroyed. So yeah, don't. They wouldn't plant this right here. I mean, once again. The reason why I'm being a little bit strict about this is because I do know that Assassin's Creed originally claimed, oh, we are trying to be historically accurate. And then they kind of like went back and said, oh, never mind, it's all fiction. So it's like, I have to decide, is it fiction or is it reality? Because you can't have both. You can't say it's both fiction and reality at the same time, right? They're like, oh, this is super historically accurate. So if you want to say it's historically accurate, then you got to make it historically accurate. Yeah, it's inconsistent. And this is one of the things that I don't like being a stickler on this. It's like, I understand this is a video game and you're allowed to do what you want in a video game. If this was any other game, I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe this is one of the rivers that doesn't flood. Maybe there's a river that doesn't flood so they can build their rice paddies here. That's perfectly fine. But if they are going to claim it's historically accurate, we have to point out, no, it's not. Yeah. Speaking of which, I kind of want to create a castle in Sakurajima when we get back to Pal World. Like, that's near the Sakura Shrine. So we're going to probably make a castle on near like the Sakurajima Shrine. Anyway, that's completely irrelevant, but just a thought. Okay, the second thing is I've noticed that these guys are in their underwear. Maybe it happened once in a while. In this era, I think I've said this a few times, this is the Sengoku era, the late Sengoku era. Assuming they already have guns. I think I saw a trailer where they had guns. I'm not sure I said it here before, but I absolutely hate inconsistency when it comes with people. I do too. I absolutely hate that. I do very much hate that, so I'm totally with you on that. In the Sengoku era, most of these peasants would be armed. Like, they would have guns, they would have swords. In this era, the moment you see a samurai, it means they're trying to kill you. They're trying to destroy your village, either burn it to the ground or take it for themselves. It was a very hostile era. And, this was near the end. And so people would be there. There's no way people would be walking around here without some sort of like armor or some sort of weapon. So you see these guys who are completely naked. It's like, I don't think that would happen. Also, did we talk about this? I believe this is the Oda family crest. Let me look this up. I'm not going to post it. I'm not going to show it on the screen, but Oda crest. Yeah, I think this is like an attempt to mimic the Oda crest. And I don't know, do they have the rights to that? Because these are actually like really important like trademark symbols in China. In Japan. So I don't know. I'm sure people have talked about it. They've talked about the Buddha before. I'm not sure you guys know this, but there's a Buddha statue in one of the trailers that is, a very, very historically religious figurine. I want to post it, but I'm not going to, because it was actually it was requested by leaders of their religion to not post that anywhere using any electronic media, and Assassin's Creed put it in their game. So
one thing we really wanted to do at the start.
Okay, Jonathan, creative direction. I don't know if you want to put your name here, because
is deliver on great player fantasy. And
okay. Yeah, I'm not going to go back to it. But if you saw there was a Buddha here, you guys can look it up on your own. But I'm not going to post it on the screen, because it's really important. It's really important. They've very much requested not to show it. But there was like something that was right here a few seconds ago. That was it was the Buddha that they requested not to show on media, and they put it in the game, which is really unfortunate.
We had two.
You gotta go, but that is something I should know. Topics like this can get you massive amounts of hate and might make you want to quit, especially when getting hate from both sides for being neutral. Yeah, I am a little bit, I'm a little bit concerned moving forward into this, but I also think it's kind of relevant for me, as somebody who is, I thought about this a little bit as someone who is both relevant in voiceover and AI. I kind of ended up having to do a lot of like moderation and mediation. So as someone who does do voiceover, but generally takes the side of gamers rather than the game developers, I almost felt like a level of responsibility to this. And I don't think it's actually a responsibility, but I do appreciate your concern, Sad Godtail. And I hope, I know that many of you guys are more willing to have legitimate conversations and stuff like that. So I'm very thankful that you all in my chat or in the who are watching me right now are much more willing to look at things in an open mind in both aspects, like what they do right and what they do wrong, rather than just saying they're evil and therefore they should stop, or the gamers are evil and therefore they should stop. So I do appreciate that. So, and thank you for caring, by the way. That's not sarcastic. As a true chaotic neutral, I'm used to that. Thanks so much. Anyway.
Merging player fantasies that were awesome. The shinobi and the samurai.
Shinobi and samurai. I want to hear how he says samurai.
Shinobi and the samurai.
Do you guys hear that? Samurai, hi. He's French, right? He's French. I mean, Ubisoft is a French company. Samurai. I don't know. I just a little detail that I noticed.
And the samurai.
Samurai. Oh, oui, samurai. I'm so sorry. Samurai. Oui, the samurai and his baguette. Weird Japanese French. Baguette. I must disagree with you on the ethics of presenting religious symbolism in digital media. I understand why images can be sacred, but why should a company restrict it in that way? Well, it's not. I agree with you on that, by the way. Just because a religious leader says don't do it doesn't mean a company shouldn't do it. This is not a I completely agree with you. It is not shouldn't. It can't. Okay. I agree that if somebody says please don't post this picture of my statue, right? I completely agree. A company said, I'm going to. What you gonna do about it? Right? They can absolutely do that, and there's no legal way to stop them, right? But yeah, exactly, Arcane. I think it's more about having respect for the culture. And I'm going to be honest, if Ubisoft did it in a completely shameless way and said, we're going to do it, what you going to do about it? You're going to stop us? I think I would have had more respect for them than if they had did this whole claim of like, oh, we're trying to be respectful to the culture, and then yet they don't do this respectful thing, right? Don't get me wrong. If a company chooses to do it, and I will not necessarily say you guys are terrible, right? I won't say that they're bad or anything. I might not agree with their decision, but I would say, well, you guys are probably doing something that's going to make the religious leaders upset. And, you know, with Ubisoft and their claims that we're trying to be respectful to the Japanese culture, right? Maybe it would be better to show respect out of respect for the culture. Exactly. It's not like they can't do it. It's not like, oh, it's so how heinously illegal that is. It's like you should go to jail. I don't agree with that. I don't believe there should be enforcement here. I believe the enforcement should be out of the personal opinion, not out of the law. I completely agree that this should not be enforced by law. I completely agree with you there. Anyway, I'm also noticing that this character, the girl character, has this thing on her arm. Is that like the hidden blade in the Assassin's Creed? Because I know all the Assassin's Creeds, like, they have like the hidden blade. That's kind of cool. Anyway, I also do like how I'm not sure how tricked out Yasuke's armor is compared to the other samurai I've seen in this. Let's see if we can find another samurai for now. Like, Yasuke has, like, super tricked out armor compared to, like, everyone else. Here, like this. Like, Yasuke has all these, like super, like... He has, like, bedazzled samurai armor. I think it may be an arm guard. The hidden blades are usually... that would also make sense. The hidden blade should probably be hidden. Usually assassins have one in each arm. I mean, I don't know how the Assassin's Creed thing does it, but it does make sense that you would... Wait, why is there like a random door that's just floating here? Are there any stairs? What the frick? Okay, so we're already kind of noticing things that don't really make sense in terms of gameplay. Anyway. Where were we? Here.
And the samurai. what we
Samurai.
didn't want is try to dilute them into one fantasy. We really wanted to explore both sides. So that's something that we're...
I personally like how they did Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I know people didn't really like the gameplay. I think the 20-hour campaign was great. The 20-hour campaign of Assassin's Creed Odyssey was great. What they did was they gave you like a skill tree. And they're like, you want to go down the warrior skill tree, or you want to go down the archer skill tree? You want to go down the stealth skill tree? I obviously went down the stealth skill tree and just sat in a bush for 20 minutes and waited for my chance to kill things. But I have a friend who literally abandoned all stealth, and he just became like the ultimate Spartan. And he would just run around like murdering people like crazy. And like, you know, we had two very different playstyles, and you didn't need two different characters to do that, right? It's like what he loved doing is he just loved starting wars. So he'd literally just go to a country. He would literally go to like one region and just start war with all the Greeks and then just claim it for Sparta. Like that's what he did. And like he loved just like massacring, going out there and like being like the ultimate warrior. Meanwhile, nobody knew I existed. I just kind of like sat in the shadows and did literally nothing. So I don't think you need two different characters to portray this, right? Do you guys kind of understand what I mean? It's like freaking Baldur's Gate, right? You could have it's like Baldur's Gate. You can make freaking what's her name? You can make Shadowheart a freaking berserker if you wanted to. You didn't have to have like multiple characters. Anyway, you agree?
We wanted to explore both sides. So that's something where we said, well, we need two characters.
The setting that we had, the Tsushima.
Brooke, narrative direction. Okay, let's see the narrative direction.
Yemen period in feudal Japan was such a nuanced time. So
I'm not sure what, you know, lately I've been using the term feudal Japan less and less. What is the era of feudal Japan? Time period. Because feudal Japan is a very broad term. So according to feudalism in medieval Japan, that would be 1180, let's say 1200 to 1600. That is a very broad timeline, right? The samurai didn't even exist in 1200, right? They weren't really relevant until maybe late 1300s, I want to say. Maybe later, I don't know. But yeah, and then 1603, that was near the end of the Great War. Having to justify a black main character by also to an extent, I think I've been thinking about this, right? It's like, my question is this: could they have succeeded if they had a black main character that wasn't a historical figure? I've been thinking about that, and the answer is probably no. They needed Yasuke as a historical figure in order to have any justification of having a black samurai. Otherwise, people would think it's like insane. It's like complete insanity. Feudal Japan is longer than the U.S. I know, U.S. isn't even through. We're like freaking babies, man. Yeah, but let me see this. Let's keep going. Yeah, so I don't like the term feudal Japan. Like, she should have said like the end of the warring era in Japan. She could have said like the early Edo period. I think the Edo period was like just before. I don't know what historians say exactly. One thing, by the way, I don't like about dates when it comes to history. It's like, this is the Edo period. This is the Tokugawa period. This is I don't know. But it's like one of the problems I have with that is that there aren't ever like set dates. It's not like we went along and it's like, oh hey, it's March 15th, 1703. Okay, that's the end of the Edo period, guys. Let's move on. That's one of the reasons why I don't like Edo period. They say it is about 1603. Okay, so they do say it's the end of the war, approximately. Yeah, Yasuke's plausible deniability, which is honestly, if you ask me, it's kind of racist to Yasuke, because Yasuke actually has a very interesting story, and you shouldn't just make it up like that. But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
It was really interesting to be able to work with dual protagonists and develop these two characters as...
I don't know if Yasuke's hairstyle would look like that. Honestly. I don't know what hairstyle slaves would have had back then in Japan. Like, do we have historical images of him? Yasuke paintings. No, not like actual historical images. Here, so this is an actual image of how they depicted Yasuke. Was Yasuke a slave? Yes, Yasuke was he was part of a slave trade. Yeah, so this is probably closer. So it's possible that he had the dreads that they appeared, but you know, it didn't look like they had like a top, like, you know, they had the chonmage of the top knot of the noble Japanese people, let's just say. And this is what Yasuke looked like. I'm not sure if he would have had his hair like that. Like, what does his hair look like here? Like, I'm not sure his hair would have looked like this. Like, Yasuke, from what I understand, he was traded very young. So I doubt, you know, I know that the dreadlocks are like historically accurate with like African, like it's like a historically relevant hairstyle in Africa, if from what I understand. I'm not sure he would have had this hairstyle in the first place. I'm not sure he would have known how to do it. Let's put it like that. So, yeah, I don't even know if this would be relevant. Once again, we're kind of nitpicking at history, but that's what they did, and that's what we've been forced to do due to Ubisoft. All right. He was part of the slave trade given to Oda Nobunaga as some sort of prize. I thought it was a trade, but it could have been a prize. It might have been a prize. And one of the interesting things about Oda Nobunaga, you know, people kind of see Oda Nobunaga as kind of like this magical, super samurai leader guy. Like, you know, that's kind of very, it's very Japanese. It's very Japanese. It's very Japanese to look at historical figures almost as like superheroes. But the reality is, Oda Nobunaga was kind of a weirdo. He was a weirdo. He liked weird things. And one of the reasons why Yasuke ended up with him is because he saw a dude with dark skin. And he was like, "Ooh, that's weird. I like it." He was kind of like a hipster, essentially. He was like I discovered Yasuke first. It's like, it you know, a lot of people think like, oh, it was out of respect. It's like, it could have been respectful, but it was also out of like curiosity. You know, Oda Nobunaga wasn't like a saint, right? He was functionally a leader in a war. So that's just a really important thing to think about. Anyway.
Develop these two characters as individuals because we really had the opportunity to explore it.
Yasuke was really tall and strong. I think he was very tall, if I remember correctly. I don't know if he's... Now, you have to remember, it's not necessarily that he was tall. A lot of Japanese people were very short. Oda did dress him up as a samurai once as a joke. And we'll address the samurai thing.
This era by playing off these two different perspectives.
As we worked our way through it and came up with...
Game direction stealth. Okay, so this guy, he might be innocent in all this.
With dual protagonist, it became very clear that Naoe is the stealth character and Yasuke is the fight character.
What was that?
Very clear that Naoe is the stealth character and Yasuke is the fight.
He's loading his gun. Charge him. What the frick are you guys doing? Remember, guns back then sucked. Don't forget, guns really sucked. You could fire at someone who was like 30 feet in front of you and you could miss. Right? Guns really sucked. There's a reason why some people still considered using bows and arrows. A New Earth update added guns. Yeah, but the problem is the guns were buggy. We have to add ray tracing.
Fight character. Speed and agility on one side, then brawn and strength on the other. They differ in Speed and agility on one
me see
side,
this.
then brawn and strength.
I do find it very interesting how every single jump is super, like, I've noticed this with the, like, not just Assassin's Creed, but like more just video games in general. Every single jump nowadays is like you have to do a backflip. It has to be cool like that. Just install aimbot.
And Yasuke is the fight character. Very clear that Naoe is the stealth.
All right, let me see what she's doing here. What is she carrying with her? She has this sword over here.
Character. And Yasuke.
Ooh, okay. I do appreciate their kunai seems somewhat reasonable. So a kunai, I have mentioned this a few times. In Japan, many of the weapons that the ninja used were essentially updated farming tools. Because, as I've said many times, and so many people who have watched Naruto have tried to argue with me on this. It included people that actually studied Japanese history. Oh, interesting. I'll have to check it out later. So many of the tools were farming instruments because many of the ninja originated from being farmers. I've said this many times. The ninja were functionally glorified mailmen. And they were just normal farmers or peasants, and their lord said, hey, can you deliver this for me? And please don't get caught. And they're like, okay, so I'll bring my shovel. And that's functionally what a kunai was. It was like a little shovel. So, and although, you know, obviously historical exception she's throwing it, you don't generally throw kunai. It was like your Swiss Army knife. It, like, you needed to get into a door, you use it to cut open the paper. You use it as a step, you stick it into a tree so you can step on it. You didn't generally throw it, but once again, video game exception. I'm okay with that.
And Yasuke is the fight character. Speed and agility on one side, then brawn and strength on the other. They differ in every possible way we could make them differ.
So ninjas didn't actually summon toads. Generally, they don't. She missed her sheath. Do you guys see that? Hold on. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. The two people pointed that out as well. I'm not sure you guys can really see it, but like her sheath is over here, and her blade is over here. It's not even remotely close. The ninja smoke bombs are flowers. They just flower. Is that true? I actually didn't know. That's something I didn't know. I saw someone point that out as well. Oh, man, it's so bad.
Our shinobi, Naoe, is the imagined daughter of a legendary Egan shinobi, Fujibayashi Nagato.
What did you say, Egan?
Of a legendary Egan shinobi, Fujibayashi Nagato.
Egan?
The imagined daughter of a legendary Egan shinobi, Fujibayashi.
Egan? I did it. Spread misinformation. Wait, is that real? Egan? IGN? Egan? Egan? Does she mean Iga, right? Iga clan was a clan. The Iga clan was a clan of shinobi. They were called the Iga clan. And then there was another clan called the Koga clan. In this era, there were two very relevant shinobi clans. There was Iga clan and the Koga clan. Right, Koga-ryu, which is the school of the Koga. And then there was Iga clan. The Yiga, yes, the Yiga. Not the Ga clan. The Iga clan. And the Iga-ryu. And these were different, clans, different, teachings of how to be a ninja. But what did she say? She's the Igen clan?
Naoe is the imagined daughter of a legendary Egan shinobi, Fujibayashi Nagato.
Fujibayashi. Fujibayashi Nagito. Nagato. Fujibayashi Nagato. He was an Iga shinobi, if I remember correctly. Fujibayashi Iga. Fujiba. There's no Fujibayashi Nagato. I want to make sure. Here it is. This is from Shinto no Sato. Oh, Shinobi no Sato. Fujibayashi. Fujibayashi Nagato no Kami, one of the 3 greatest Iga ninjas. Right? Fujibayashi Nagato no Kami. This is the person. No Kami means a person who is like a god. So this Fujibayashi Nagato was so good, he was like a god to the ninja. That's it. But he said Igen.
Of a legendary Igan shinobi, Fujibayashi. Daughter of a legendary Igan shinobi,
Igen. She's not even saying the clan right. This is like the most basic thing. I had to make sure because I don't really know very much about the individual shinobi. But it's like, when she said Igen shinobi, I immediately know it's the Iga shinobi. Iga, not Igen. Like, I can't really blame that on her accent either. That's not something she would get wrong. It's like, at the very least, get the basic names of the clans right. Iga shinobi, not Igen. She puts it, she spells it Igen. It's like, at the very least, you need to get the name right. That's like me calling Ciri Cersei. It's like when I was talking about The Witcher, right? I called Ciri Cersei, right? It's like, it's close. People know what I'm talking about. But it clearly means I have no idea what I'm talking about, right? Reminds me of the Cleopatra documentary experts. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly it, right? When I said like Cersei instead of Ciri, right? You guys knew who I was talking about. But it's like, it's clear that I don't know very much about The Witcher. It's like, I'm just doing it based off like my existing knowledge, right? But it's like, no, I can't imagine any Witcher fan calling Ciri Cersei who didn't know what they were talking about. Like, I knew, like, it's like, I have no problem admitting that I really don't know much about The Witcher. But it's like, she is what? The narrative specialist or something? Narrative direction. It's like, these are the basic things you need to know. It's not the Igen shinobi. We need a Jane Doe in the chat. We do. But this is not the Igen shinobi. That's just historically inaccurate. That's like, how do I put this? That's like if you took the word samurai, right? And called it the Samura. Oh yeah, Yasuke was a Samura. It's like that's essentially the level of bad that is, especially in the Japanese pronunciation. It's like, oh well, she doesn't know Japanese. It's like, yeah, but she could pronounce it. She knows the difference between Iga and Igen. Oh my god, it's like they can't even get the name of the ninja clan correctly. It's like, how can I expect them to know anything else correctly? And this has nothing to do with Yasuke, even more so, right? The fact that she's the daughter of the legendary Igen shinobi. It's like, what the frick is that? One of the 3 greatest Iga, like, Igen ninja? E-ninja game. I see nothing. Igen ninja? No, anything I look up for, anything with an Igen, it all goes back to Iga-ryu. And she's not speaking. I'm trying to give her the absolute benefit of the doubt. There are sometimes you might put an N at the end of a sentence if you were speaking Japanese and you're trying to lead your listener to follow into the next sentence, or you're trying to relate something to something. But she's speaking English, and she follows it with Igen Shinobi. So then the shinobi and the N should actually come after the shinobi. So that doesn't even work. It's like there's no justification of her pronunciation. I cannot think of a single justification. Eigenfunction, freaking the Eigen Shinobi. Oh my god. Yeah, here they were trying to, you know, solve linear algebra. I can't justify it. I cannot justify it in any way why she would call it the Igen Shinobi. It's like, this is any weeb who studied ninja for more than 10 seconds knows Iga and Koga clans. Those are the weeb clans. You need to know the
Edo period in feudal Japan was such a nuanced time. Ashi Nagato. And up until this point, she's actually been quite protected from a lot of the horrors of war that have been going on in other parts of Japan. So this is going to be her first real taste of what lies beyond, and it has a profound impact on her.
Totally random, but I love the random furniture they put in here. It's like, oh, let's make it Japanese and have like a stone bowl with apples and a little bench right here, and then we'll put this little paper wall right here. I wonder if they just made this studio for the sake of filming this. I don't know, because I can't imagine they actually have this in the Ubisoft studio.
Of what lies beyond, and it has a profound impact on her.
I wanted to have the stealth as a core pillar in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Player will recognize.
So you were wrong. It really is the hidden blade. Wait, no, that might be under her sleeve. Never mind. You might also be correct. They probably went somewhere to film this. Maybe they did. Yeah. Oh, this is really interesting. Once again, I'll give this one a supernatural exception because blades don't do that, but let's just say the Assassin's Creed blade does that. Okay.
Is the classic Assassin's Creed experience in
Why doesn't she look like this? This is way cooler. It's like this isn't really a critique, but it's like, where is it originally? Where's her stealth thing? Where is it? One side is stealth.
A legendary Egan
could drawn and Yasuke is
here.
It became very clear that Naoe.
Yeah, why doesn't she look like the other one? The other one looked way cooler. She had like shuriken tied to her like sleeve and stuff like that. It was totally impractical, but it looks way cooler. If you want to, like, here's the reality, right? This is one of the reasons why I don't like it when people say things, oh, we're trying to be historically accurate. If you wanted to be historically accurate, like, what you really needed to do was make being a ninja a walking simulator. Let's be real here. That is how you make it historically accurate. So
The classic Assassin's Creed experience in
like, this looks cool. Like, I just think this looks cool. Like, did Ninja dress like this? Probably not, but it looks cool.
But we're adding a lot of things that make her super unique. So she's the best.
Okay, how is she super unique?
Best assassin ever. We want to.
Okay, she's the best assassin ever. Okay,
so
let's see
she's
how.
the best assassin ever.
That's kind of a glorification, so I'm not gonna nitpick on that too much. That's kind of like a hyperbole.
We want Naoe to be extremely fast, efficient, acrobatic. We've worked a lot to make sure that she has the efficient.
If she's efficient, why would she be doing flips, man? It's like, these are like, just say you want to make her look cool. That's all you need to say. Just, we wanted to make her look super cool. But it's like, the moment you say it's efficient, it doesn't look.
To make sure that she has the coolest, most spectacular parkour we could give her. She can squeeze in tight corners. She can go prone, meaning that the character can go underbelly and just.
I also, to me, that sentence summarizes it all.
Squeeze in tight corners. She can go prone, meaning that the character can go underbelly.
He feels like he has to explain what the word prone means. To me, that is just. To me, that is insulting. I think to me that captures the feeling of this entire video, which is she can go prone. Oh, by the way, that means she's on her stomach. Yeah, like that kind of just captures how I'm feeling about this.
And just crawl around in the dirt and disappear from view.
It's like the whole misconception that the spies are always hiding. Yeah, essentially. Yeah, a lot of ninja, they were just normal people.
We really wanted to leverage all the light elements that come with our new tech and use it in a core way for Shinobi fantasy specifically. So what that means, at night, you have to read the environment and hide in the pockets of shadows that are cast naturally in the world. And that affects how NPCs can see you. And
I will say, one thing I will say is that a lot of people say this might not make sense. Like, she couldn't stab them in the chest like that. It's actually very possible that they could have. So I just want to, you know, put that misconception. The samurai armor was good, but it's like a really, really focused strike could actually pierce it. Like arrows could pierce it. So that is just the point. It's one of the reasons why they had those massive shoulder things, because those were essentially shields to redirect arrows. But, you know, but besides the point.
Naturally in the world. And that affects how NPCs can see you. And
was that door, the door over there was floating. Did they not have enough wood to finish this? We're poor, so we couldn't afford the full door. So we only ordered 7/8 of it. Come on. Oh my goodness. Come on, guys. You heard about the door floating? That's kind of really funny.
And that affects how NPCs can see you and if they can sense you at all.
Is that supposed to be Japan? Hold on. Not sure where exactly this is. But look how big the marker is. So these were markers used to American public restrooms. So these were markers that they used to identify where their troops were located. It's like, this is massive. So it's like, this is essentially saying, like, my troops are located somewhere in Oregon. It's kind of funny. Not too critical, but just kind of interesting.
What we want the player to experience is the feeling of being the predator. So you feel like a ninja, you can break light, you can vanish in the shadows, and you're flipping on roof with the physics-based grappling hook, so the stealth is more rich than ever, and you really feel that she's like a blade in the shadows.
The art of combat.
Yasuke is our first historical protagonist.
I will say there was no need to have a historical protagonist. It's like, wasn't the whole point of the Assassin's Creed thing that they were all fictional, because so then that way they can make up whatever they wanted? I thought that was the whole point. Like, they would have fictional characters, so then that way, like, as they disappeared into history, it made sense because they were assassins and they just... But besides the point.
In Assassin's Creed, what we know about Yasuke historically is just a bit, but it was...
Then why did you use him? It's just a bit.
It's in Assassin's Creed. What we know about Yasuke historically is just a bit, but it was enough to get the team really excited about the opportunity to work with him as a character. He can fight his way out of anything, but he's also super smart and can think his way through things equally as well, and is going to... He can fight his way out of anything, but he's also super smart and can think his way through things equally as well, and...
If he's super smart, why is he illiterate? Oh, God. Okay, so you guys might not realize this, but nobody writes on scrolls like this. Wasn't Yasuke only in Japan for 3 years? I don't actually know. I don't know the rules of that. I don't the rules. I don't know the timeline for this, but like, this is like saying, don't worry, it's historically accurate. This is like saying, don't worry, I read good. Okay, how you use these scrolls, there's two ways to use the scrolls. Either you write from the top and then you go down, or you write from the left and go right. So one way you might use these scrolls is if you're writing like, there are a lot of like 4-character proverbs in Japan. And you would write the first character on the top, then the second, then the third, then the fourth. And then that was it. And then you would leave it to dry and you would never roll it up again. Right? I mean, you might roll it up once it dried or something like that. But you wrote it all at once. To a certain extent, it was almost an art form, right? Some warriors did this as an art form. And of course they write freaking courage. This character means courage. But it was effectively an art form. So you would write a scroll and go 1, 2, 3, 4. If you did it like this, that means this is the only character he's writing. It's like, brave. I'm so brave. Another way you could do it is you could write from here and then you go down this way. And then the next line goes down this way. And the next line goes down this way. And the next line goes down this way. But what this looks like is Yasuke saw a character and he was like, ooh, that's a nice character. Let me write that down. It's like, I'm not sure you guys get, maybe you guys don't understand this if you haven't really understood like Japanese history or really like seen this type of thing in actual, like the real world or real culture. But this makes him look illiterate. I'm not even joking. This is like he has no idea what he's doing and he saw his dad write something and he's like, I want to write that. That's the level of bad this is. It's not good. This is not good. He's super smart, guys. He's super smart and can think his way out of anything.
Is going to be somebody who always has a commanding presence.
So especially,
you know, this is so much worse than I thought it was. It's like maybe he's still learning. Hashtag smort. Smort. This is like so much worse than I thought it was. Like I thought most of the fiasco was the historical inaccuracy of Yasuke. But it's like if you can't even say he's smart and he can, you know, you can't even make it to show that like he can read. It's like, then you screwed up on multiple accounts. Is it stereo? Oh my God. Maybe it's not historically inaccurate, just stereotypical. Oh no, don't cancel me like that. It's just a stereotype.
in combat, when we think about Yasuke, it's really about dictating how the fight will go. And to do so, we created a mechanic called the posture attack. So he can change.
So, this sword didn't exist. Essentially, when the samurai trained, they would use essentially just a bamboo stick. The sword was functionally a stick. Yeah, this sword didn't even exist yet. This sword was created way late. I don't even remember the reason as to why they created this sword, but this sword didn't exist. So I have no idea what he's doing with this.
So he can chamber an attack, and then he can launch that attack to do massive amount of damage and take out anyone.
Yasuke is very, very strong. He can barge through reinforced doors. He can lift heavy objects.
Yeah, but if he's so smart, why didn't he just open the door? If he's so smart, why didn't he just open the door? What the frick? The lock is on his side. There's no way. There is no freaking way. If he's so smart, he could just lift it and open the door. So how some of these old doors were how some of these old Japanese doors were locked is that they would put a bar in front of it with like metal hinges on top of it, so it's difficult to open it. And so like if you could break the bar, you could open the door, but you didn't have to. You could just lift it off. If he's so smart, just open the door. Yes, now I understand why people wanted me to watch this. It's great. This is so good. Oh my God.
Through reinforced doors, he can lift heavy objects that now he can't.
And you know what the best part is? He didn't even break the wooden bar. The door itself just fell off.
Doors, he can lift heavy objects that now he can't. But that means that he's somewhat slowed down compared to.
Let me see after he breaks the door.
Heavy object. He can barge through reinforced doors.
Yeah, and the bar. Oh, the bar. No, the bar kind of like teleported away. And people were trying to say Japanese people have no problems with this game. It's not great. It's really not great, guys. The government, yeah, I heard the government got involved.
Objects that now we can't, but that means that he's somewhat slowed down compared to now.
Why would you do that, man?
That hurts. On the ground, that's where he shines.
Wait, what did he say? That hurt?
That hurts.
I wonder how they're going to voice act him. You know, this is maybe an afterthought, but I wonder how they're going to voice act him because he's a Japanese dude, but he probably needs to be played by an African-American person or people are going to cry racism. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with the voice.
On the ground, that's where he shines.
All right, so long story short, leave Yasuke on the ground. Stronger together.
We have two characters who have such different gameplay styles. So for every situation, every gameplay moment, you're going to such different gameplay styles. So
I will say, I think
two
that horse is a
characters who
bit
have
too
such-
big. This is something I can give an exception for, but people were short. Right? Japanese people were short, and Japanese horses were also not very big. They were pretty small. So the fact that Yasuke is supposed to be much taller than Japanese people, and then the horse itself looks big enough to be double Yasuke, it's like that horse might be too big.
Such different gameplay styles. So
Maybe we'll get the voice of Samurai Yo, that would be actually, that might give like a 1% redemption for this game.
for every situation, every gameplay moment you're going to encounter, you really need to think through everything from the in every
Hold on a
gameplay
second.
moment you're going to encounter. You really
Okay, so they got this wrong as well. I've mentioned this about the timing before, but the sakura trees only bloom like for a few weeks a year in spring. And these fruits, I don't remember what they're called, but these fruits are only harvested in autumn. So that's another thing that's completely wrong. It's like, it's either one time or another, but if you want to be historically accurate, don't mix the two.
need to think through everything from these two perspectives.
Blood must be paid in blood, Yasuke.
I don't know why. This is actually really funny. Blood must be played in blood. I don't know why. They made it so dramatic. Spare as Yasuke or attack as now. Of course you're going to attack. We just want to play the game.
We always want to respect player choice, so you can do quests with any character. So if you are Yasuke, you play with his strength, but also with his weakness. Same for Naoe. Each character has their own skill trees, but also their weakness. Same for Naoe. Each character has their...
What's really interesting here is that you can see the sword is slightly unsheathed here. But did he do that? Or did he just not put in his sword all the way? Because generally what you would do is when you're preparing for a fight, you know the classic, I'm gonna like, you know, I push out, you saw this in Ghost of Tsushima, right? Jin would push out his katana with his thumb, right? That's what you would do because very often like they would fit very snugly. Boop, they would it was almost like they clicked into place. And so like in order to get your sword ready, they would push it out. But usually you'd push it out with your thumb. And in this case, he hasn't even gotten ready yet. So it's just weird. It's just a little bit weird. I don't know. Maybe that's the intended. Like maybe he wants to keep it a little bit out so he can draw it quickly. So I'm not going to criticize that too hard. But you know, just something to note.
Has their own skill trees, but also they can master.
Maybe they forgot a lot. Oh crap! I forgot. I brought it too short a sheath today. It would be cheating if it's unsheathed. Yeah. Actually, people can't properly sheath in this. I mean, we saw it in the other area as well with what's her name, Naoe.
The different weapons. So it's not just about stats. It's about the player competency to really understand how the different mechanic works.
They have different speeds, they have different HP, they have different gear sets, so they're very unique and they're a great balance of two player fantasies.
I find it kind of very interesting here.
Very unique and they're a great balance of two.
Like, you know, he throws this. I don't know. Did they censor the blood in this game? Because if he cuts off his helmet, this guy should have a mad gash right there.
Player fantasies.
The most exciting part of having
there's the
our dual
statue again.
protagonists is the distinction and the fact that they don't really overlap. Narratively, they have common goals and they are aligned on what they want to do, but the way they go about it is drastically different. Sometimes playing Naue, even if you're very good, you'll hit a wall and some enemy is gonna kick your ass and you go, you know what, let me switch.
But didn't they say they wanted you to like have your player choice and like allow yourself to have a narrative decision?
And the same is true for Yasuke. Sometimes you'll get a setup, a couple enemies are high on rooftop that you cannot quite reach, and having to go, you know what, let me switch back to Naue. And having this push-pull that players get to experience.
Here's the thing. There's a game that did this really well. It's called Shadow Tactics. It was a strategy game where like you had to switch between your ninja to kill the people on the high rooftops, and then you would switch to the samurai now that the guys with the guns are gone, so you can kill with the samurai. But it's like, this is not that game. You shouldn't be forcing players to do that. It's just my own 2 cents.
Which characters is good in what situation? It gives us lots of levers to play with.
Oh,
Which
no!
characters is good in what situation?
Oh, no, 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 no. You never do this. You never cut the symbols like that. Oh my. Oh no, that is like, I don't want to say it's a crime, but it's like, that is so rude. It is incredibly rude to take a symbol and then chop it into pieces like that. Like, not only did they, what is the significance? I don't know if there's an obvious significance. This is my guess, and this might not be historically accurate. These flags, you would take these flags into war, right? You would take these flags into war and say, I am this clan here. I am part of this clan. So if you guys remember Ghost of Tsushima, when the samurai all got together to try to take back the castle or some castle, and then like you had like a whole bunch of different groups of people, a whole bunch of different clans. They were all pushing forward to capture the castle. They were all carrying like they all were behind someone, and one of the samurai was carrying a flag, and that was a very important thing. Right, that was a very important thing because you have to represent, this is the person you are fighting right now. Right now, that game took place in like 1200, and the samurai weren't really existent yet. But that was the idea, right? But so you had to walk into battle with a flag to represent who you were. That was a very important thing when it came to battle. And what would happen is that when you were, and essentially, this is my guess as to why you don't do this. I'm not 100% sure. But when your flag went down, that was a big deal. Like, when your flag, the representation of the group of people you were fighting, when the flag went down, that was a big deal. So when your flag went down, or maybe sometimes like, you actually saw this in Ghost of Tsushima as well. When you are exploring the beach with all the dead samurai, you see a bunch of flags that they were just kind of like strewn about, or like some of them were burnt and like torn apart. That's your defeat. That was your defeat. And so when you have these crests and they're like chopped up into this, right? It's like, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but you only ever see crests like this if your people have been defeated and now your flag is down, right? That is when you would see the crest be chopped up. And I suspect that is why you don't do that. Like, you never do this. I don't know exactly why, but I suspect that is the reason. Long story short, when you do this, it's very like if you show a family symbol and it's not complete or it's chopped up or something like that, that's like heinous. That's like blasphemy. So yeah. So you can think of it as like, it's like a symbolic way to say that I'm going to beat you or something like that. Something like that. Like, I don't know. Don't quote me on that. This is just me taking my knowledge together and trying to piece together why you don't do that. There might be a more detailed reason, but you do not do that. You do not do that ever. Like, especially on complete flags. Like, if this flag had been torn up or something like that, I kind of get it. It means at this point somewhere for some period of time, maybe the Oda group lost a battle here, and as a result, their flags got torn up and stuff like that. That makes sense. But this is a complete flag. This is a flag that has been hung up for clear purposes. So functionally, it's like, oh, well, the Oda, because we're going to cut up their symbols, the Oda are not going to have any victory here. So unless these flags are taunting, like Oda Nobunaga, I do not think, and I don't think that's what they're made for. This is just really bad.
Of levers to play with and try to break the mold, I think is the most fantastic thing we've achieved with our dual protagonist from a gameplay perspective.
Okay, so I understand why people wanted me to watch this. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. I don't know who Peggy is, but I'm sure glad she's 18. What? Anyway, yeah. Okay, so I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to understand, the problems in this game are beyond, Yasuke. The problems in this game are multiple. And I've hinted at that with the intergalactic thing, right? But, when you have one problem, generally you have several problems in the process. And yeah, I think, a lot of people make fun of, I know like people have been attacking Sweet Baby Inc. because their narrative directions are never really good. And they try really hard to be like politically correct in their consultancy. But this is what consultants are for. This is what cultural sensitivity consultants are for. Therefore, things like you can identify, oh, well, no, the sakura trees wouldn't bloom at the same time as that fruit was being gathered. One of the trailers featured a sword that had the same writing as Zoro's sword. Wait, really? Zoro as in Zoro from One Piece? Zoro as in the samurai chef dude? Wait, no, it's not a chef. That's Sanji. But Zoro as the samurai dude with the guy with the sword in his mouth. That's really funny. Did they just like commission the same guy who made Zoro's sword to do the exact same thing? Okay, let me look this up. This stream has gone on an hour longer than I thought it would, but I'm just having a blast right now. Zoro, sword, assassin, spirit of the game. We know everything now. You guys probably knew everything from the beginning. Until Sunday, Japanese, Sunday, July 14th. Okay, so we have the mask. We have this. This is, yeah, earth, water, fire, wind, and I think this is metal or something. I don't know. Wait. I think this means sky. What is that symbol? Google translate Japanese to English. That's not what I meant. Hold on. If you guys want, Google Translate's actually pretty good because you can draw the characters here. Empty. Sora. Yeah, sky. Okay. So, yep, this is the first thing. Wow, doesn't it look exactly like the sword of Roronoa Zoro, a character from the One Piece manga? Hold. Katana, One Piece. Zoro Sanda. Wait, hold on. Do Sui Ka Sora. There's no way. 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 Wait. Hold. Okay, they say there's this piece right here. And this was pretty common. Like, this is like you would have this as where you would hang your attach your sword to your clothes. Kinda. I mean, kinda. Not perfect, but yeah, a little bit. Oh, maybe on the backside, though. Yeah, but the stand is exactly the same. But there's these little crosses right here. Let's see this part here. Wait, no. This is... Oh, no, this is from the actual... From the toy that they sell. I'm not sure if there's a toy or an actual sword. But... Oh, no, it is. It is. You're absolutely right, it is. Yeah, that's it. I think that is. It has the exact same symbols. It has this here. I cannot believe that. How did that happen? Do you know what? Katan. Red katana. Red katana on stand. This is probably how they did it. They probably Googled something and they said that looks good. That is my guess. My guess is they probably Googled like red katana or something like that. And then they saw a picture of Zoro's and they're like, ooh, that one looks good. And they just use that as a reference. Maybe. But it even looks like this. The thing is, it even looks like it. The exact shape is correct. I don't know. Either way, they screwed up, but I can't tell exactly. I cannot tell, but this is really funny. This is, like, hilarious. I know the other thing they did wrong is the Torii gate. Torii gate. So, yeah, for so it's like, this is what you have the cultural consultants for. Like, you know, people like Sweet Baby Inc., this is what they're supposed to be checking for. Like, the cultural consultants, they should not be... Like, this is not... Oh, my God. Also, something's wrong with my phone. Give me a moment. Yeah, this is what this should be used for. There's no reality where this will be a good game. It's a little bit disappointing, to be honest. Because, you know, I think everyone was looking forward to an Assassin's Creed game in Japan. And... Well... Yeah. Not even the developers like the game. I can imagine. I can imagine that's the case. Anyway. What the fans wanted for over 10 years. I know, right? Yeah, anyway, I've been streaming for a little bit longer than I expected, but I've been having a lot of fun doing this. It's actually confirmed one of the heads working on the game and an interview. Man. Yeah, I'm glad I had a chance to do this with you guys. It's a good stream. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I might do this more often. Just look at some of the things that are currently going on in the video game world. Since I'm actually reasonably part of it. But yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. Yeah, also, you know, we're probably playing a little bit more Pal World next time. I think we'll probably do some other games. We might do Witcher. We might do Stellar Blade. We might do... There's a surprise stream. I'm going to call it my New Year's resolution stream. That's a hint as to what it's going to be. The devs were majority junior developers who were starting out making games. Oh, man. And I kind of feel bad for them because they were probably overworked. Anyway, you know, I'm glad we had this chat convo. I better get going. I need to get dinner. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. Like, it's always a freaking blast. The fact they don't like the game says everything. It really does, doesn't it? A little bit disappointing, but you know, maybe there'll be good indie games, something like that. It was a great time. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that you guys enjoy these chat streams. Like, maybe I'll do it more often. Yeah, just to look at what's going on out there, because these are nice. You know, they're also nice for me because I get to, like, you know, talk about the things I enjoy doing, which is, you know, voice acting, story writing, that type of thing. You had so much fun. I'm so glad to hear that. And hopefully you guys get something out of that too. You legit learned a lot. Oh, you don't know how happy I am to hear that. Like, that legitimately makes me happy, like, knowing that I can contribute something beyond just me being stupid. Thanks so much, guys. And maybe next time we'll check out some of, like, the actual reactors. So will we react to the reactors? That's a good question. You learned quite a bit. I'm so glad. The stupidity contributes. Definitely helpful. Thank you. Yeah, we will try to do this again soon. In fact, maybe I want to make this more common thing. Like, maybe we can look at some old games. I'm actually looking at the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed comments. So there are a lot of comments in Japanese. It's actually kind of interesting. Yeah, but I'm so glad to hear that. I better get going. I promised myself I'd get some shawarma today. Because I haven't had shawarma in so long. Yeah. I'm gonna have to check out the other thing, the video that you guys said where there was 2 Japanese historians or whatever it was reacting to it. But yeah, I'll have to check it out. Anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with me today, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. If you have any quests for me, I'll see you all next time.